You've not seen the Fallout trailer?
No.
I just started this recording. Let me stop it. Let's watch the trailer. It was a great trailer, by the way, guys.
Oh, is this recording?
Yeah, now it is. Hi there, guys. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jake. This is Josh. And today, we are not reacting to anything but each other's words. that was such a weird intro for me. I've done that before. Yep, so we are all done and dusted with Phase 1 to 3, the Infinity Saga. Again, as it stands right now, we're not going to continue due to conflicts in sort of like, you know, timetables and stuff like that. But what we thought we would do today, which we said we were going to do when we did the last one, but we decided to talk a little bit too much and drink a little bit too much. We decided not to do it, but what we're going to do is actually rate our favourite films from least favourite, number 23 to number 1 in the Infinity Saga. So it was Josh did it in about 20 minutes, and was it an easy 20 minutes for you, would you say?
No, it was how I did it was I kept going back and forth, so I was be like ranking the top and then the bottom, like the obvious ones, and then I'd slowly fill in the gaps.
Right.
Like this, and then that big space in the middle. Well, where's my hands going?
Either way, there
this
we go.
way. I sort of left blank in case I kept needing to swap stuff around.
See, how I did it, I broke it into bottom 13, top 10. And then what I then did is that I worked out what ones were going there. And then I then did what you did. I picked what would definitely be my top 3 and then what would be number 10, 9, 8. And then I worked out what was in between, because those ones that were I found more tricky.
Yeah. And
then the other end, it was the same one. It was like what would come in then, what just missed out on top 10. And then what was definitely towards the bottom for me. So it was difficult for me. I said to Josh, it took me all together, I'd say, really putting my mind to about half an hour. And that was for about, and I'd say I struggled for the last 10 minutes, wanted to tear my hair out, because I thought every time I put one in, I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this to this other one.
But you've been thinking about this for years.
Yeah.
You probably already had a broad...
I did. Do you know? But I did. I had an idea what was in my top 5, and actually, come doing the top 5 here, I think it's 3 of them was I expected. The other 2 were the ones that could easily swap out with other ones. So it's interesting to me. So, but again, it's we haven't looked at the list. Josh did his list. We didn't do it last time, so I've kept it aside. I don't know where everything comes. I've done mine. Josh hasn't seen it. So yeah. So without further ado, I think we just jump into our list. So
yeah,
Josh, what was your number? Let's see if I want to how much of an effort I'm going to put into this. I might put graphics on the screen.
Okay.
What was your number? 23.
Is 23 just going to come?
Yeah. I mean, I might just see just a little bit of writing in the corners. 23. just the minimalist effort. Right. Yeah. You're number 23.
So we've got to take it all in the context of I watched all of these films with you.
Yeah.
Apart from a handful which I'd seen previously.
Mm-hmm. And even then it was only about 3.
Yeah. One film that didn't rank so highly, just I can't remember it. And it was a bit of a shit show. Was Ant-Man.
That was number 23. Interesting. So how I did my one as well, in the context of I did it as in what it means to me, what I remember seeing it in the cinema, and I also remembered what it was like watching you around this third time. Some of them has been the 20th time around. So, but yeah, so Ant-Man I do get. However, Ant-Man I actually hold a little bit closer to my heart, because it was when that came out for me, it was a bit more shock. It was enjoyable, and I was very sober when I saw it.
Okay. So on top of that, before we even watched these films, I always got this in my head. I always thought Ant-Man is a shit superhero.
It's a lot of them. All the time, the camera goes out, and they lean into that by how ridiculous he is, and I think Paul Rudd is a great casting for that. How ridiculous, silly it all is. Even he's commenting on how stupid some of the stuff is. But his powers are pretty badass at points. Did I ever tell you about the theory of what everyone said at the time? This is going off topic already, but I tell you about the theory that people had, that how they were why didn't he could easily have killed Thanos. And the theory is that people in Endgame, what he needs to do is he needs to rock up, go really small, jump up Thanos' arse, and then go really big. Like Giant Man big. And then he splits Thanos in half.
Okay, yeah, that's
Solid theory.
a theory.
That's solid theory. Are you annoyed you didn't see it?
Not particularly. I thought that would have been such an underwhelming
Ending to it.
just such an underwhelming death for Thanos. Being killed by like one of, if not the shittest Avenger.
Ooh. Fair. You used to say that about Clint.
I didn't.
Yeah. Oh, there is receipts. Right.
What a hero.
So my number 23 is Thor: The Dark World.
Okay.
So Thor: The Dark World, which obviously you'll bring up at some point as well. So like it's got nothing to it, but Thor: The Dark World again is Thor's second film. Christopher Eccleston as the Dark Elf.
Can I use your pen?
What have you?
No, I just want to write down next to mine just the number you've put yours in.
Oh right, okay. Actually, that's a very good point. I'll do that as well. God, look how serious we're taking it.
So we can like compare it.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So, again, for me, is that it. Thor doesn't. Yeah. For me, it was the. And I think the majority of the people who watch the MCU will agree with, at least with me on this one, is that Thor: The Dark World it's not good. As much as you love Thor and Jane and their romance and stuff like that, even that couldn't redeem it for me. So I must admit, Thor: The Dark World, it is it didn't really have anything that sort of like, the only thing probably good thing was it had Thor, I guess, in it, and it had a couple of funny moments, and Loki was just classic Loki.
Yeah.
So that was mainly it for me, I think. So, do you have anything to say about that?
No, I'll get onto it quite shortly.
All right, number 22, Joshua.
It's actually The Incredible Hulk.
Number 22 for me is The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yes. Why didn't you like it as much?
Obviously, it was very, very, very early on.
Yeah.
And I don't think the support cast was that great.
Liv Tyler whispering lines wasn't that great either.
Yeah. That wasn't. It didn't feel so much like a superhero movie like the rest of them.
I guess I think that's the curse of Hulk, isn't it? Is that he's not, in those ones, he's not really a superhero because the world is treating him like a villain.
Yeah.
But again,
and then especially when you see how his character developed in later films, he becomes much more of a character you get behind.
Yeah.
But in the first film, he did seem pretty flat. There wasn't a lot around him. Maybe one-dimensional. It was, I've got this disease I need to keep control of. I want to find a way to get it cured. Suddenly I'm a big green angry thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas again, I get what you mean, is whereas later on Ruffalo accepts it as it's his crutch to bear. It's cross to bear? Yeah, it's his cross to bear, and he basically, he's like, yeah, I get what you mean. For me, it was like a. Do you know what bit reminds me? Well, I'm trying to think of the film between me and you when you're watching it. Do you remember the really attractive neighbour that works at the plant? Do you not remember?
Yeah.
She was so attractive. That's probably why it's not 23rd and 22nd. But yeah, but again, for me, it just, I mean, it looked fairly good for the CGI and everything. I think they put a lot of money into it and stuff like that. I just think, it's the cast wise, I didn't think Edward Norton was the best for it. Tim Roth, even though I love a bit of Tim Roth, him as Abomination was during it. Then you have Liv Tyler whispering her lines, and it's just like, yeah. So again, the only real thing I could say that was good about it is that it generally felt like the Hulk was a very big, giant green rage monster at points.
Yeah.
That's probably the only thing I had going for it, I'd say.
But then I think when the films developed further and it became the Avengers and everything else, he became much better as part of a team rather than a standalone.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Which again, I think that's what I think a lot of people thought. But I think they got the rights back now to the Hulk, so they may do another. They might do a standalone one eventually. But as it stands, yeah. But yeah, so that's good. There was 22. We did well there, Joshua. I just got a weird craving for limoncello.
Okay.
I just don't know what we're gonna do with that information. But yeah. Right, number 21.
I have gone for Age of Ultron.
Ooh, what a curveball! Ooh, explain yourself.
Okay, The robots I thought were stupid. And I just think they did not make use of the Avengers the way they could have. In terms of all the other Avengers movies, when they're together, it is epic.
Yeah.
And it just fell flat with Ultron. The premise I really wasn't a fan of.
Yeah.
And yeah, just it didn't get me going.
You know what? A lot of people, again, like I said during the reaction, is that a lot of people didn't necessarily enjoy it when it first came out because it just felt like another, rather than develop on, because Avengers, the first Avengers, blew everyone's tits off, and it definitely did. So I must admit, yeah. So for me, I agree that I expected more from it, and I got what felt like just a churned out a replica of the Avengers with just a little bit more detail. I thought there were stakes. We got in new characters, but again, rather than like sort of like be like, right, okay, cool, let's keep all the new characters and not kill anyone, or then go, all right, cool, let's keep the new characters but then lose a certain character. They've then gone like, oh yeah, we're gonna like sort of play on the fact that everyone thinks Clint's dog shit, and then in the end we're gonna kill the fastest man alive with bullets that he can't outrun. I did think Yamani plays and Ultron, his voice work, I can't remember his name now, was great. I did like his voice for Ultron, and I think that again, there's a show that comes out later on. If you when you do watch them, if you do watch them yourself, it's called What If, and it is like basically a comic. It's an animated version of things like what if this happened. It's done by the Watcher, who basically watches the multiverse and sees different things play out. And some of it's one of the stories is what if Ultron won, or what got the Infinity Gauntlet or something like that. And it goes to show you what they could have done with Ultron, and it just puts to shame what we got.
You fell flat.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I think I agree. I think you are right there. I personally put it down a little bit further in my list. I'm now just sort of reconfiguring things because I realised that I'm putting like notes next to my one for you. So now I've got things where I did swap around. I'm now just sort of rubbing out, putting in, so I can put your stuff next to it. But I will say that my number 21 is Iron Man 2.
Ooh.
Now I don't know where Iron Man 2 rates for you. Iron Man 2 for me, it was they didn't I felt like they could just churn out Iron Man and just be like, there you go, enjoy it now. Like, as in, like, sort of like, yeah, you like the first one, here's the second one again. Like, just sort of like, but here's whips instead. And it's like, it's like for me. Again, there's only so much that we can get. Like, listen, there is some great moments in it again, and there's so much that I feel like that that obviously Robert Downey Jr. can play Tony Stark, him and Pepper finally getting together, Black Widow turning up, and then Nick Fury being like, these things are great, but I just felt the story was lackluster, and I needed more from it. If they kept those scenes with those people that they've come into it, and those characters come into it, whilst then also developing a bit more to Whiplash, a bit more to Justin Hammer, then I would the one that does the other technology, the one that comes out dancing. Yeah. Him, if they gave us more to do with that, their stories and stuff like that, I would have been like, not Mickey Rourke going, where's my bird, and then him just breaking people's necks off screen. It's like, let me see it on screen. But yeah, that's where I put Iron Man 2. But I don't know how far down Iron Man 2 is for yourself. But okay. Yeah, so any comments on that, or do you want to move on?
No, I'm going to talk about it in a bit. So
yeah, that's fair enough. That's fine. So you went for it was, what did you just say there? Age of Ultron. There we go. That's fine. So number 20.
The Dark World.
Oh, so you put down the Dark World after Age of Ultron. You're so controversial. You just can't help yourself.
Is it?
Yeah, people are going to hate you again.
Again.
It's the final time to hate him, guys. Yeah.
Actually.
Age of how come you put down Ultron? Not Ultron, sorry. Thor: The Dark World. What's redeemed that to not put it last?
I just think they could have done a lot more with Ultron.
Right. Okay. So I get Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Because you can't really remember that much.
Yeah.
That's the main reason why I think possibly why you don't play that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I get that. Hulk, I'm a little bit sort of, I get that, but I'm just a little bit shocked that it's gone Dark World then Ultron. But what was redeeming about the Thor: The Dark World that was better than Ultron?
Honestly, Thor.
Thor. So
Thor's character, I think, held up a lot more on his own. He was still fairly
handsome,
always handsome, new and unusual. Still came out with some good quips. Like, he still brought a bit of comedy to the role. Bit darker than the first one. I wasn't a fan of the Christopher Eccleston's army,
which is a shame because I love Eccleston.
Yeah.
We all do, but sorry, just about came to my head there. There's a clip of like Eccleston's only just getting back into doing stuff for Doctor Who, like all the things stuff like that, because basically he just had a bad relationship with BBC and all that sort of stuff, that he ended up just sort of refused to do anything because he had a really bad time when he was there. And it got to the point where everyone was all forgiven. He's now doing these sort of things. He did a recent panel where someone basically was, what was it like coming across the Dalek? And he, and like sort of like for the first time in the production, and then for like about 2 minutes survey, he was just shitting all over the production team. He just said like, we had an awful director. Just like, whoa, Chris, calm down. Do you not want to get invited back? But yeah, but I think I get what you mean. I think there was more redeeming stuff to do with Age of Ultron than Thor: The Dark World. Definitely, I think that's why Dark World's at the very bottom of my list. But I get what you mean. Is that it felt a little bit lackluster, and Thor did save it. I think Loki saved it. I think
Loki as well.
Yeah, Loki. Their sort of relationship. I must admit. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a little bit shocked that Age of Ultron came that.
You got to take into account most of these films, if not all of them, I've only seen once.
True. Do you know what? That's what's good about reactions. You can just watch them again, mate.
Yes. What you mean? Watch the reaction again?
Yep.
I have, for the most part.
There you go. Watch them more. Need kick those numbers up, baby. Those are rookie numbers.
Yes, they are.
Right. Well, my number 20 is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ooh.
So again, it felt like it was thrown in there again to be the Ant-Man and the Wasp just after Infinity War, and everyone's like, what the fuck happened with Scott Lang and everyone there? Like, why are we getting this film? And then we basically got him doing his thing in San Francisco. Again, it felt like a regurgitated Ant-Man, and what made everything special about Ant-Man, rather than build up more from it. It was just like here's Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I didn't like. I always thought it was a shit superhero. This is
you're going to be very shocked for Ant-Man.
This is my number 19, by the way.
What, your
Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Oh, so you just said one after you below. Okay,
Yeah.
so we might as well just do. Well, we'll do. Yeah. But yeah, so for me, it felt like regurgitate, and again, it just what made it. I think that they changed the dynamic a little bit too much with when it came to Luis. I liked his sidekick. Louis, again, you probably remember from Ant-Man and the Wasp, Luis. Yeah. So again, I liked his. Again, I like. There's only so much that Paul Rudd can do. I thought Ghost was a bit lackluster. You had Lawrence Fishburne in there as he used to be Goliath, and he was just there as like a father figure to Ghost. Again, you had what's his face that doing his sort of southern sort of, you know, the guy that's there. I can't remember I'm stuck between almost saying the character's name and the actor's name. You know, the one with the big forehead. No, not Michael Douglas. I know Michael Douglas's character, but I'm on about, you know, the one that's from the south that has that. What about it? You're gonna bring me my part for that machine, and I'm gonna find a laboratory. No. I'm gonna find. Yeah, something Goggins, Walter Goggins.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you his photo. Hold on, I'm gonna pause it whilst I show him. Who? I've shown him photo, by the way. We commented on his big forehead. Yeah.
He looks like he could play the ghoul in the Fallout trailer.
He could do, couldn't he? That's actually the perfect role for him. Well, I think he's great as well, though. I think he's a great actor. But yeah, I just just find it very, very, again, for me, it was just like why have we got this guy here? It just felt mushed together.
So I think the redeeming qualities was the silly comedy.
Yeah, of course. Him with things when he had his interactions with his daughter as well was fun, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and obviously, you know.
I can't even remember her name. The actress' name.
Oh no, I'm stuck between both of them again. Hope Van Dyne is the character's name, and the actress' name is it doesn't matter. Yeah. But their relation, them cracking on again was good. I thoroughly enjoyed that. But again, it's like it's.
And the back and forth between him and the FBI officer.
Oh yeah, Agent Woo, Jimmy Woo. Yeah. That was probably one of my favorite parts of it. Was Jimmy Woo just sort of wanted him like getting really like interested in the magic and then trying to learn the magic, and then even that bit at the end, he was like, "I see you around." He's like, "Where?" And he's like, "You gonna ask me for dinner?" He was like, "No. Do you want to?" It's so good. He's brilliant. But that's again. That's it's in a film. It has its only real redeeming factors are small bits rather than it being like a bigger part, which is what you'd want a film to be. But we'll now move on to number 19, which Joshua has said is so number 19. I'm not going to do any editing.
We're just going to completely forget about shouting out the numbers.
Yeah, I've been shouting them out, have I?
I think you missed a couple. What's your number?
I'll edit something in. I won't. So Joshua's number 19, it was Ant-Man and the Wasp, which we just talked about. My number 19 is Captain Marvel. Yeah. So, what was that little ooh down there? So Captain Marvel for me, when it came out, and again watching it with you, I enjoyed it a bit more. When it first came out, I was like, I needed more from this. This is supposed to be big enough, this character to be outstandingly sort of powerful, and I didn't feel it. It also then sort of then bigged up Brie Larson. And again, I love Brie Larson. I think she's great. I think she plays a great Captain Marvel. But I wanted more time with. I don't know. I think maybe I wanted more time for her to be Captain Marvel. I know it's supposed to be the origin story. I get that, but again, there was too much of a confusion of it all with where she sort of stood with her powers. I thought that Jude Law. Well, I remember when I got Jude Law mixed up with someone. Guy Ritchie, that was it. I got Jude Law mixed up with Guy Ritchie, that was it. But when Jude Law, he, I thought he was a bit of a lackluster villain. Did all the people that were just out to get her. Was like, Ronan turned up and then just fucked off when he was getting battered. A young Ronan. Yeah. We got the Skrulls in it, and we were the shapeshifters. And again, it only highlighted the severity of the power of the Skrulls. I guess that's in hindsight though. But at the time, I was sort of like. Take it back. The redeeming factor for me was a young Phil Coulson, which we got a little bit of, I'd say and just Sam Jackson and Brie Larson being like a great pairing. I think they've done a bunch of films now, so they actually got a good repertoire and good relationship. And I felt that on screen, and the green screen looked fucking amazing on him as well. Not green screen, the CGI. Sorry, they de-aged them so well. Yeah. So, have you got anything to counter that?
I don't want to go too hard yet, but
oh, sorry.
The character development I thought was good. Like the way you see a young Sam Jackson and Coulson.
Yeah.
I thought a great little scene was after you see Marvel sort of realise her powers and stuff. Then Jude Law is like, "All right, I'll fight you 1-on-1."
Yeah, and she just batters him. Yeah, fuck off. Yeah. Little moments. Do you know what? I enjoyed it more watching it with you. I have to admit, I did enjoy it more with you. And for me, I just think that even though I enjoyed it more watching it with you, I still there's that overriding factor of what I expected at the time, and I think that's probably what still has this quite. If this was. No, I think this is probably staying around now. Yeah, it's a very badly to the other ones. But yeah, for me, it was. I don't know, man. I just expected more from it personally. For me, when it first came out, and again, and I know what it is as well. Just before Endgame coming out as well, I was so hyped. I was like, "This is gonna answer so many things," and I answered nothing.
Yeah, more
questions. Yeah, like why is the cat got this much power?
Yeah, see, I had no anticipation for it.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, you watched that, and then like 3 days later, you watched Endgame. So yeah, you didn't have to worry too much. So, but yeah. But that's me again. Again, we could talk about more your opinions on it when it comes up to you. But again, that's my opinions on it. So, number 18. I forgot to write down your ones again. So number 18,
Captain America.
Number 18, Captain America.
Oh yay!
Yay! So why is Captain America? Well, 18, I don't think is a bad number, considering that it's obviously better than the others. So what made that better for the others than for you, would you say?
It was a good It was a good introduction to such a key character, I thought. Like, an origin story, this dweeby smart, patriotic guy that just wants to do right for his country and be part of the team, give it his all. And then it's his heart that shines through. That's why, but that's why he got it. So it's like a classic superhero. It's not about being the strongest, it's about
yeah. Well, like that scene alone with them throwing the grenade, where Hayley Atwell's character throws the grenade in and he jumps onto it as a scrawny little kid whilst everyone's trying to run away. It is that's the reason why it's.
And I did like the bits between him becoming a super soldier to him going on the final battle.
Yeah.
Where it's just like him with a platoon or whatever size group of army, just going a bit mad.
Yeah, I have to admit that sold. Like again, someone retweeted on the other day. Like it was the bit when Captain America jumps off the huge tank, and everyone was like, "Were the tanks always that big?" And I think even during the direction, I was like, "I don't remember them that big either." But yeah, I mean, for me, is that I think it was a good introduction to a. I think what they do end up doing with Captain America eventually is it supersedes it. I do think that, but I do think that what they did with the character that for the origin story, it showed the best of what America can be, and that's what Captain America represents. It's truth, justice, and liberty, and I do think that Red Skull was a good villain for what he was. I think Hugo Weaving's a great character, like actor as well. Having Toby Jones as well as the scientist, the one there again, having him as well. So I thought that I have to admit I do think that, and like the bit as well, showing him be scrawny, be powers, and then put on the sideline is to be able just to be a mascot for America. So then actually, rather than thinking there's so much money in this guy, there's so much power in him, let's put on the front line. They were doing that to then obviously then him just kicking ass.
Yeah.
And then so but again, what a little bit as well is that as much as it is his story is about hope, because that's what he is. He's Captain America going into the ice. The whole story of having the love of his life, like he got frozen. He's come and he's missed his day. I think that's such a heartbreaking story to portray as well.
And in the grander scheme of things, like with a lot of these films, their characters develop so much in latter films, and you just appreciate the characters more.
Yeah.
So at that point, maybe a bit underappreciated.
Yeah.
By me, anyway.
No, again, I do think they develop them a lot more better further down the line. But again, a solid introductory for Captain America, I think, personally. But yeah, so that's good to know. We're on the same wavelength for number 18. So, number 17.
I've gone for Iron Man 2.
Oh, okay. I've gone for Thor.
Whoa.
I know Thor is a little bit closer to that top 10 than I think it should be, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But why was Iron Man 2 number 18 for you? 17, sorry.
Is going on some of the same stuff you touched upon. Iron Man's developed a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he comes to the fore a bit more with his powers. Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 1 felt very similar to me.
Really?
Obviously, it's modern day now.
Yeah.
And, he's being a little bitch because Peggy's gone. Oh, shit, no, wrong. Sorry, excuse me. No, I'm talking about the wrong thing. So, Iron Man 2, I got the wrong one in my head. But I am thinking of Iron Man 2.
Oh, you're thinking, guess what, Whiplash.
Yeah.
That's Whiplash, yeah.
His characters develop slightly more, not much, if anything.
Yeah.
His relationship with Pepper has come to the fore a bit more.
Yeah.
Whiplash, I think, wasn't the greatest villain.
No. It's always basically touching on the same stuff as I do, yeah. I mean, I'm just a little bit shocked that one's you've put that better than, let's have a look here, that you've put that better than, I don't know, Captain America.
But I think Tony Stark's character is just
drives it. Okay, I get what you mean, because it's so hard to. If you're going off of like even putting Iron Man 2, I put that in as number 21. But even I was like, but Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. How can I have him so low?
His character brings a lot to it.
Yeah.
And he brings a lot more emotion and conflict to it than Captain America does.
I mean, yeah. I mean. I think for me, I is that for the overriding factor of I needed more development, and I got development of that character. I guess that is Iron Man, but again, I don't think it was too much dissimilar from the first one. That's for me. But I think it's probably best I talk about Thor, because you rated that film quite highly. Now, where it is in your list, I'm not too certain. I think
where did you rank Thor?
That's why I put it down. Thor was number 16. No, 17. Sorry. So you're 17, which you just put down as Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
I'm putting that as Thor. Josh, how have you fucked this up already?
No, I just didn't write it down.
Oh, I didn't write it down. Right, okay, yeah. So for me is that I thought, Thor for me was that it was a good introductory, but I think that there's better introductories that have come along. So, but before that come out, like after that for certain characters, I think that Thor it was fun. It introduced us to the cosmos. Mm-hmm. That is, that is space. We're dealing with actual space battles and stuff like that. We're dealing with mythological. Hold on, the camera's gone out of focus because of the cup. Come on, focus, baby. It's not focusing. There we go. Yeah. So I thought it dealt with Norse characters. So again, but put them in space. Like I thought it was a very good introduction. I thought the cast was really great. I thought it was like perfect casting for Thor, for Loki, for Odin. It was just spot on in those sense. We got introduced to Hawkeye. All these things are great. And again, it was that fish out of water experience. But again, I've experienced the fish out of water before. But but compared to the others, it was enjoyable. But I will say that the reason why it's down lower is because I do think that the other films that come after this are better story structures. Mm-hmm. Are you okay with that?
It's just your opinion.
Why is my opinion wrong?
No, we've just got different opinions.
Okay.
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 Not Perry.
Well, again, for me,
cry over your opinion.
But for me, I think it's a solid film for what Marvel is. For me, this is when it starts to change, going down. I think for me, again, I do think that I do think that. So for me, I think that Thor it starts at a point where it's like, all right, I'm happy with that. At the time, obviously, when Thor first came out, I was like, yes. I was like, this is amazing. But then everything that came after that, I was like, this is so much better. So, but that's me personally. Yeah. Okay. Well, number 16.
Iron Man 3.
Number 16 for me is Iron Man 3.
Do high five again?
Yes. So Iron Man 3, at least for me, I again enjoyed it. It's better than Iron Man 2. I think it got a lot more shtick when it came out. Now you won't really know it as much because obviously you didn't see it, but it came out because I think people saw the first one, which the first one is like god tier, and then people saw the second one and was like, why is this so shit? And then post Avengers, like, right, they know what they're doing now. We're good. And then it was then like, so a lot of people at the time was like, what the fuck was this? They changed a lot of things to do with the Mandarin, and like so how they changed that from the 10 rings. So, like that's what it's a whole thing. So a lot of the comic book fans were pissed off with.
See, and I totally get that, because as someone watching it with their eyes open and just not having an idea what's going on, the Mandarin was like, "Oh, that's quite jokes what he did." Like, "Oh, he's just duped them all. He's just some guy in a chair."
Just some guy,
And then, obviously, I think you told me after the film, or even during it, like what his character is in Marvel lore. The Mandarin character. Like, can understand why people had higher expectations. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. And again, like I said, when they had the whole thing to do with, again, I still am a little bit pissed off with what they did with Trevor. Do you know, with him being the man again, the man, him just being sort of the stare, being like, "Mr. President, you will not see me coming," and it's like, you're so fucking badass, and then it turns out it's just an actor, and you're like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But then you're like, oh, Trevor's probably the funniest bastard in this entire film.
Yeah.
So again, it makes up, and that's why I think you need to see it as it is a goofy film that's also got some really badass moments. Tony's whole thing to do with his anxiety, it's like very cool. But him then being this father figure to this kid who's trying to guilt trip him into staying because his dad left him as a kid.
And that was a cool little, like, it felt like in the main, like, let's say video games, like Fallout, we just watched the trailer. that would have been like one of those silly little side
missions, right? Yeah.
That you just didn't have to complete, but it was just sort of there to
It was
help
there,
the
yeah,
story develop.
yeah, of course. Okay, yeah, I completely agree. Because again, rather than be in the midst of it all in Malibu and all that stuff, he was then in I can't remember what part.
Snowy little town.
So yeah, I can't remember tell. He was in somewhere, and he was just there, and it was just sort of like I need to sort of reset, get everything sort of work things out. I'm gonna hang out with this little kid, and no one's gonna ask questions, and it's just like. And it was a good sort of reset, and it's a goofy little film with some badass moments, and it's a Christmas film. Like, it's such a fun Christmas film. Like I could easily watch this at Christmas time, I think, because again, it's the nice amount of having like that Christmassy feel to it, but then also being pretty goddamn cool. That whole ending bit with him bringing all his fucking suits to the play, it's still for me, it's still one of the coolest things they've done. I have to admit, it's like. It's cool. Yeah, so would you agree with that as well?
Yeah, it was good. It brought more action to it, I think.
What was missing from the second one? They actually developed it on further, but again, I think I think some of the story that they lost it. They lost it along the way. Some of the parts of the story, but yeah, no, I think that was a solid film. Yeah, that was good. Right. You also picked... So you picked Iron Man 2 followed by Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, okay. Well, number 15! Right, what's your number 15, Joshua?
Winter Soldier.
No fucking way! No. It's that low. I feel like Roy Keane, when they were trying to pick his team, was like, and he wouldn't have, who was it? Was it Paul Scholes in it? Was it Ryan Giggs?
I think it was something like Dennis Irwin versus Ashley Cole.
Yeah, something. And he was like, no, you serious?
Giggs is not going in my team.
Oh, really?
Really? No. It's.
Honest to God, I actually can't believe that. You put the Winter Soldier that low.
Yeah.
Wow. No wonder people hate you. Fuck. I hate you right now. Right, what's your reasoning behind it then?
I can't remember much about it. Listen, I made this list like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, true.
And then when I made the list, I was thinking a lot more about it. I had more thoughts about it. I've already got confused with some of the movies so far.
Jesus Christ, fucking hell. This is even the most straightforward thing as reading a list has gone to fucking shit.
But I didn't think it was...
Alright, that's fine. Well, so why would you say you would put that 15th then, would you say?
I'd just like to mention that probably this is the point where my top 15, I guess, becomes a lot harder to rank.
Right, okay. So something had to give.
Yeah.
Let me have a look at my 15 down.
It was sort of like, well, I can't put it in front of this film, and I can't put it in front of this film.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get what you mean, but again, I don't know, I'm a little bit shocked it's that, like, sort of mid-table.
It was just a sort of...
I mean, because you can remember, it's the first time the Russo's in play, the first time we get Falcon.
Yeah.
It's the first time it has that sort of that grittiness feel to Captain America. I
feel with the films I've said so far, this is where the action starts getting a lot better.
Right, and this, okay, I get what you mean, this is where it changes. I get that's something that you think changes me, but I'm just, again, I know there's things you haven't said yet that's ahead of it, and I just can't comprehend it.
But, see, you've seen everything like 10 times.
True.
You were waiting eagerly for each release.
Yeah, I was.
I wasn't.
True. I do think if you watch Winter Soldier again, I think you probably would. It wouldn't be at that point. But then that's just me thinking it. You might watch it and go like, actually, it's 17th. But I do think that it's very well written. The espionage feel to it, like trying to bring down Hydra from the inside of Shield. Again, the Winter Soldier as well, having him in there just being absolutely fucking badass.
And there was some great scenes. There was the scene on the bridge on the highway where everyone's just sort of going for each other. Is that the lift scene as well?
That is indeed the lift scene, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there were some great scenes, which I think bumps it up a bit. I was never a fan of the Bucky idea.
Or what, of him actually being the Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. It just felt like a convenient storyline to make more of it.
I mean, that's the way. I mean, way it was written. He was the Winter Soldier, I guess. But again, it's one of those ones where it is like a interesting thing that
it's like, you know, we'd be great. Let's brainwash your best friend and make him your biggest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is the fact is that they, rather than take any other person that they have in their army, they've gone like, let's pick an American that's half broken on the bottom of this. I get what you mean, but again, I just think that the shock of it all, once I realised it was actually Bucky, because again, once his mask came off, and then I look at Pete Turner and I was like, who fuck's this dude? And it was like, Bucky. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I know, but when we watched it, I think you were like, you know who that is?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, no, but again, there was, I mean, a while in between. But again, there was for me as well. I don't know. Maybe I think you're a little bit more forgetful of things.
yeah, but you probably wanked over the first Captain America 20 times by that point.
I'd say about 13. No, I'd say I don't know. Maybe I was more. I definitely am more into it. Definitely. There's no fact for it. I'm just a little bit shocked it's coming out, but fair enough. We won't dwell on it too much because I know that we're running short on time.
Okay, Jesus, I've got to go to the toilet quickly.
Oh, let me pause. No. Right, yeah. So back from a little quick toilet break. So yeah. So for me, if you didn't even get onto me, I was so gobsmacked by that. My number 15 is Age of Ultron.
Oh, okay.
So mid-table after mid. I think what rides it a little bit more for me, brings up that point, is the fact that it's still an Avengers film. It still got me pumped in the cinema. It still got me excited. Again, I still got some of the badass scenes of them all working together, so that got me jacked up. But otherwise, I think that it was lackluster. So I don't think it's. I think this one I could have easily have put maybe a little bit more further back, I think. But again, I just think that I got more excited from scenes from Age of Ultron than I did with like other scenes from like Captain America, the first one, and Thor and Iron Man 3 and things like that. But yeah, so that's cool. Right, okay. Number 14, Joshua.
Spider-Man 1.
Right, okay. So why did you put it at that point?
So again, like I said before, it's come to that point where all the films are becoming closer together, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from maybe when you get to the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was really fresh.
It was fresh, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shit, it's fresh. It is. I have to admit, again, at this point now, I can't really sort of like be too shocked that some of these being in these sort of areas. So I will agree with you that again, for me, obviously, it comes a little bit further down. But again, I do think first Spider-Man as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So Spider-Man 1. Yeah. So it was a nice sort of fresh feeling to Spider-Man. Obviously, you got him in Civil War, but then you get him here doing his own sort of thing. You get introduced to a new character in which you haven't seen in live action by this point, I don't think. So you get Vulture, which is good, which is again great character. I thought what's his face? Michael Keaton was great as Vulture as well. That reveal of his daughter as well.
That was good.
Great reveal. Like he's being the father.
Yeah.
Great reveal. But again, I personally think I agree with you. I think it's a solid film. So, what would make it better than the others apart from being a fresh one? What makes this better than Winter Soldier?
Spider-Man is classic. He's got more to his character in terms of, first of all, as a character introduction. We all know who Spider-Man is. Mm-hmm. There doesn't need to be an introduction.
We don't need to see the spider again. We don't.
No, we just
he is Spider-Man, and we just get on with it.
Yeah, and so I think it did get on with it.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. We don't know what the actual word.
I think Tom Holland played the role great.
Fucking brilliant. Listen, if any people are here watching this, and if there's about 20 people that are watching this, and if you don't rate Tom Holland, get out of here. I think he's perfect. He's a perfect blend between Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Whereas the other two, I think, were specific either Peter Parker or Spider-Man.
And I think it was a good introduction to Spider-Man going into the Avengers.
Yep. So I agree with that as well. Again, because a lot of people say where are all these other characters and all these things that happen? And Spider-Man is one of those characters because Sony have to deal with them. They get you to bring other characters into it, so it makes sort of sense. He's acting with these other characters. These other characters are there. So yeah, but again, introduce him into it, and of course you can't have just Spider-Man being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man when you have Thanos on its way.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's a great one for me. I put down Doctor Strange.
Ooh.
Yeah, so for me is that I thought again it was a fantastical sort of new version of like a reality in which we haven't experienced before. We obviously dealing with the mystic arts. I do think that I thought Benedict Cumberbatch is a great choice for Doctor Strange. I think he just suits it so well. I think he's one of those ones as well that sort of like enjoys the role himself. I think and I think that it didn't really waste too much time getting into the like thick of it. It was I'm a great surgeon. Oh, look, my hands are broken. I need to go get help. And then suddenly the Ancient One goes like that, and he's flying through so many weird, trippy things. And then after that, it's just a... Yeah, I think that they could have done better points with maybe with the villain. But again, I just thought that visually it was stunning. I thought it was outstanding the work they did. But yeah. So at this point, I don't think we don't necessarily have to shit on these films or our choices, because I think we know that they're all good or decent. Or no, I'd say this is nowhere now at the good film stage, I'd say.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So any opinion on my one, or do you want to move on to the next one?
I was going to go for Captain Marvel next.
So that's number 13.
Yeah.
Number 13!
Yes.
Number 13. So number 13 is Captain Marvel for you. Now, that is...
It was quite
19. Yeah, 19. So why did you put it so high?
I thought she was badass.
I think, I do think she's bad. I think she looked more badass in Endgame.
Yeah,
I do think she... I don't know. I think she...
Everyone looked more badass in Endgame.
Yeah, true. I just feel like that they could have done more with her character. I think personally.
I think the first twist with the shapeshifters was good.
Yeah.
I don't know who the actor was, but he played it brilliant with his Australian accent.
Yeah. What was Talos' character's name? Yeah. It's like, oh, that's a flogging.
Yeah. And then that was my next point. The whole thing about the flogging, I thought was brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, you give me a kitty cat that looks cute, and then suddenly it's a fucking murderous monster.
But everyone is like,
just seeing itself. Yeah. Again, these aspects of it are just fucking great. Again, I think that the Flurkin was great. Again, Talos, the guy actor, I thought again great little twist on that. Them actually not being the villains, but being the ones that needing help. The Kree being actual bastards. I get again, these things are good. I just don't know. I just feel like I expected more from Captain Marvel, and again, it was I don't know. Again. She I think the whole sort of afterwards as well, after once you realise, I'm actually can touch my powers and stuff like that, she then suddenly she's having she's able to sort of have a little bit of fun with her powers. I'm like, this is kind of good but nice, but now it feels like now it's sort of undercutting what the thing about your powers are. It feels like you're being more jokey when you, I don't know, that's for me. I just felt I didn't think it was as good as it could have been personally, but the fact you enjoyed it, well, a lot of people will be happy with that.
Yeah, I remember at the time you were surprised how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, you were very, very shocked by it.
Because you're sexist.
I just thought she could have worn tighter clothing, that's all.
Despicable.
Yeah, fucking. I told you about that as well. How the internet, literally, for some reason they're obsessed with Brie Larson's arse. This is what Captain Marvel's arse should be. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're showing a comic from the 60s where women weren't allowed to be anything but objects.
Yeah.
It's just it just winds up. Have you seen the ones that were going mad about She-Hulk?
No.
And literally, they wanted her to be wearing a purple sort of unitard where any poor woman, you could see the outline of anything. And because they didn't do that, they were the incels on the internet were just raging about it. And it's like, well, stop basing things off of things from the fucking 50s, you sado. Not Sasado, that's a little bit harsh. If they're doing it for they want it to be comic accurate, I get it. But when they're trying to be comic accurate but also thirsting over a big green range monster, yeah, it's a little bit that's like me saying the Hulk realistically is ripping his shorts all the time. Where's his cock?
Exactly.
There's not enough cock on screen in the Hulk. There you go. There's my argument. Should we move on?
Yes.
All right, okay.
13.
Number 13. Hold on, did I say mine?
No. 13 for you.
Oh, so you're number 13. Yeah, sorry. Number 13, yeah, that's it. Spider-Man Far From Home. So I personally love Spider-Man.
At this point, I will just say that's my number 12.
Oh, is it? Right, so we can do that one. So this is number 12. Here's the next one. For me, Spider-Man, it's like you said, it's iconic. It's a character that I really do sort of level with. And I just adore. So even when people slate Far From Home, they really do. Yeah. Because again, it's the whole sort of the argument of Iron Man Jr. rather than be friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. People say argue about that, and then so they talk about that and the fact that he's not in America. Another popular like is like, how is he supposed to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man when he's literally going across Europe? So people didn't like that. Obviously, as Europeans, we're like, yeah, dude, it's rocks. So just sort of literally when doing the edit, at points we're like, yeah, we've been there. It's like so first, but I'll be. I think the main thing that people really enjoyed it was obviously Mysterio.
Yeah.
I think the whole sort of twist of Mysterio was lost in some people because people know that Mysterio's a bit of a bastard. Whereas people who, like yourself, you knew obviously that he was a villain anyway, but people who went to it and watched it the first time, they were like, oh, this guy's pretty goddamn cool. Then the twist where he's in the bar going, well, I tell you, and then yeah, it's like, that will obviously freak a lot of people. That reveal scene, him revealing everything, which we talked about last time, it's great.
And you can't forget Peter Parker had so much hesitation about being International Spider-Man or whatever.
Yeah, and
he didn't want to bring.
He didn't want to do a suit. Yeah,
he didn't want to.
May packed it for him. Nick Fury fucking hijacked it all. He just really wanted to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be a part of any of it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the whole point. Is it? He that's the point of Peter Parker. He wants things that he can't have, and one of the things that he can't have is a normal life. He can't have a good holiday.
And I loved the sort of teenage awkward stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean is that it was. I remember someone sort of retweeted something the other day of him and MJ kissing, for the first time on a bridge, and they were like, I can't believe we waited for this moment for MJ, and it was this sort of kiss, and it's like, they're kids, right? You don't I would be freaked the fuck out if these are supposed to be teenagers and I'm watching them tongue each other's faces off. I'm surprised they even this is the thing about Hollywood is that it was they did pecs, which was what it would be, because realistically if you're a teenager that age and that's your first kiss, it is either going to be that or you're licking people's lips, and it's just there's a lot of as soon as you finish so. But again, it was the development of their relationship. I did enjoy it again, and it gave you a different sort of MJ rather than Gwen Stacy, which we got obviously in Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, Andrews Garfield's one, and then we obviously got MJ in 1 to 3 of Tobey Maguire's one, which again is just a problem on its own, that MJ portrayal. But it was just a different, more modern version. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Again, and I cannot shit on a Spider-Man film, because no matter what, it's still Spider-Man. You could show again, even though I have parts of Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire where I'm like, I remember rewatching it not long ago and you know what? It's not that bad. And I forgive the whole dancing thing, him dancing in the street and stuff like that. It's cringe as fuck, but I'm there he's so cool. So I have a go at me all you want, but I love Spider-Man. So yeah, I'm glad but Far From Home for me was number 12. I was number 13, and Far From Home is your number 12.
Yeah. So
we've talked about number 12. So number 12. So Far From Home is for him, and my number 12 is Ant-Man.
Wow.
That's
got to be the biggest jump between.
I think was that your last one? Yeah. So that was literally
But it was my last one for a reason.
Yeah. So for me again, it was the first time I watched it. It was a shock. It was a shock. I didn't expect it to enjoy as much. Didn't expect Paul Rudd to be able to take on that role so much. It was so bloody funny. Everything about it was hilarious to me. I do think maybe you should rewatch it sober, because I do think you will enjoy it more sober, because just Luis, even something as simple as Luis, when he's when he picks up in the van and he's like, in his van, he's like, yeah, no, it's my grandpa, and he said yeah, he died, and he gave it to my dad, but then he got deported. then my girlfriend left me. And it's just like simply, I got to keep the van. And I was like, yeah. Sympathy. And then like thing when he's telling his stories, like when he's going on his little rant and he's like doing the voiceover work of everyone that's in the scenes. You remember this bit when he's doing his little stories? Where he's like, when at the art gallery and I was looking at this nice little model people, I'm like, it's simple that the writing in it was so smart, so well acted, and it was just, and again, for me is that when they have something as ridiculous as some like Ant-Man and other ones that come up later on, they need to lean all the way into it. For me, I think they need to into how stupid and ridiculous it is for it to even be good. And I personally thought they did that in Ant-Man. But obviously, it's hard for you to argue because you can't really remember the film much anyway. But that is the big gap, yeah, because that's 11 places in between.
That was one of my favourite bits in the second Ant-Man was Louise and his like storytelling.
Yeah.
Especially when he got given that truth serum.
Yeah, when he's telling truth. When he afterwards on the phone to Scott and he's just like, yeah, and I hate the way you load the dishwasher, man. Who puts a place on top? It's so smart. But again, it's just something so good about it. It's comedy is so well timed. It's just such a good and fun film for me, man. After me, if you rewatch again, I think you will change your opinion on it. Because even something as simple as like it's such a simple joke. It's like he goes, remember Ant-Man, I can't remember, you won't remember much, but he works at Baskin Robbins. And he basically he doesn't tell him he doesn't get like job, like he's a convict and he's like, yeah, he's sticking to the man, but I gotta fire you. And he's like, yeah, you can go like steal it. And he goes back and he's in the apartment. He's like, what happened? He's like, oh, they fired me. And they find out. Baskin Robbins always finds out. It's just like something as simple as that. Baskin Robbins always finds out. It's so simply good. Like, I love it. That's for me. But again, the yellow jacket I thought was a good, as in the villain as well. The big bald slaphead bastard.
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, vaguely, yeah. Because that's when you started to fucking knock back the whiskey and your eyes there. You started doing that, so that's fair enough. But again, he ended up being, quite a good villain. But yeah, that's where I'd place it. We are running very short on time.
I'm going to guess we're going to stop it after number 11.
Are we? I mean, we might have to be quick about it.
How quick can we be?
Right, okay, let me just pause it. So after discussion, we are actually going to stop at 10, but this won't affect you in any way because we're just going to continue and like maybe in a couple of days' time and do our top 10 then.
Yeah.
So if it looks a little bit different lighting or we have a different top or jumper on, it's because of that. But we will continue at that point. But yes, we'll just finish off then. Hold on, where do we go to? Right, okay. Now, you're number 11.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange number 11. Why have you picked Doctor Strange so far along then? Like close, because obviously it's beaten the likes of Captain Marvel.
Because it was better.
Okay. But what? Because I remember doing the edit for it, and you sort of were kind of mesmerised by it, but you didn't give the biggest reaction to it.
It was all, again, compared to the other movies, it was obviously every character is different. The whole it's basically magic.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool concept for one of these superheroes. Like Captain Marvel's just a fucking badass superhero. Doctor Strange can do magic.
Yeah.
And there was that whole other different side of it, the mysticism. The villain was quite good, especially the way he finally defeated.
With Dormammu at the end, you mean? Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Yeah.
And just killed him from repetition. Didn't kill him.
Yeah.
Just defeated him through repetition. Yeah, and obviously Benedict. Like, what a guy.
We spoke about it probably at the time. You've seen the internet coming up with different names for him, right?
I don't know.
They literally, there's the whole sort of thing where they have different names for Benedict Cumberbatch, where they literally call him things like Benedict, Bendicrum, Crumby Bum. Oh my god, hold on, I'm going to get this list up. Hold on, wait. As if I said, let's save time, and now I'm going to get this list up. Hold on. Right, rather than go on to too many, I'm just going to go through a couple of the top ones that are at the top of this Reddit drop down. What are the best names you've heard for Benedict Cumberbatch? Benadryl Cabbage Patch. Wimbledon Tennis Match. Bendy Cat Cookie Batch. Bandicoot Thunder Snatch. Buffalo Custard Bath.
These are just ridiculous.
Bread Machine Crackerjack. Oh, have you seen Some people call him Penguin.
Yeah,
Because he calls it gay. Yeah, Burlington Coats Factory, Cucumber Bandersnatch,
He's ridiculous.
Benevolent Computer Glitch. Like I mean, but this is just it's literally it's all over every different site here. Bendy Wick Candle Snuff, Burning Cookie Batch, Bumblebee Cabbage Patch, Big Dick Come On My Bitch, Broad Bean Cucumber Patch, Basketball Boy Can't Actually Catch, Badminton Boy Killing the Match. It's fantastic stuff. But yeah, so got distracted there. But yeah, that's one of probably the main reasons why that should be so high is his name alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what I mean. Yeah, for me,
and his whole journey of acceptance into like what he was before, which was a magical surgeon.
Yeah, to now just a magical man.
Yeah, but that journey, the perseverance, the defeatism.
Yeah, that whole him being an absolute arsehole as well, and then actually being something completely like by the end. Yeah, it's one of those ones as well. For me, is that he's a man that's in love with a woman, but he doesn't get the girl, and that's why I thought they did well there, rather than give him sort of the girl like, oh yeah, here's your romantic lead, because he actually loves. He's actually damaged himself and their relationship quite a bit from what he did, and it isn't something you could just walk back into. So I thought that was good. That's good. But yeah, for me, I was just a little bit shocked you put it that high, because your reaction to it when I did the edits, I was a bit sort of like, I didn't think you actually enjoyed it as much, but it must have been one of those ones that you've sat with more, or you appreciate more visually as a post one. Right. Well, for me, my next one, my number 11. Oh, I'm stuck in between two. It's number 11, number 10 could get swapped in between, but I'm going to stick with my gut. And number 11 for me is Black Panther.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, is that Black Panther I thought it broke the thread. Like, so what's the word I'm looking for? It did so much for the black community.
Yeah.
It did so much for the African community. I think that it did so well for visually. It was at points when it showed like the landscape of things. It was stunning. Costume was brilliant. I thought Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther was a terrific casting. I thought they did well to be able to get Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger was great as well. So again, I thought these things were all there. But the CGI at points was lacking. I thought they gave us Ulysses Claw, Andy Serkis's character, and I thought they killed him off a little bit too early for my liking. I think they could have kept him around for some reason. I thought that, again, going into it, they were like, oh, I said it to you at the time, they were like, just before the film was like, the Black Panther like soundtrack, and it would show me all these great artists with the songs I knew about him 4 weeks prior, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna be sick, and they didn't have any of them in it, and I was like, oh, oh, you bastards. I thought that for me that there was there could have been a lot more to it that could have made it better. I think, and that could have made it better. I still think that those things that have it that is the reason why it's at number 11. It could have broke top 10 for me, but still, I do think that it.
Is it too much like The Lion King for you?
You said this during it, and it shattered my world. It did. It was just like But I guess the thing is that the reason why I'm thinking it also could be top 10, because again, the redeeming factors of it is that Killmonger again was a fantastic fucking villain. Like, even him at the end, rather than sort of like be like sort of like being one of his prisons, he was like, no,
yeah,
you're yawning, your lips started to quiver, unless you're about to cry.
No.
But yeah, no. Even at the end, there, we was like, bury me at sea like my ancestors who'd rather face death than face captivity.
Yeah.
I was like, whew, things like that. What a fucking character that he was. But even things as silly as like, even things with the rhinos. He's got a herd of rhinos that like literally they're riding all of a sudden, and then which is grand. But again, the CGI in that looked a bit shit. And then suddenly the rhino stops and just licks Okoye's head, because he's like, "Are you going to kill me, my love?" And he's like, she has to protect the kingdom. Of course she's going to kill you. I don't know, man. There's little. That's why I'm tossing between. There's things that. But then I think of the fucking actual soundtrack of the music, the African tribal music and thing they use visually on the plane of like where he goes to like to meet his ancestral plane, and when he sees his father and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Looks fantastic. But then they do things that are just like, this could be so much better. But yeah, so that's why I'm teetering between that being. But I will stick to my gun and say number 11 for me is Black Panther. Strong opinion.
We've had a lot of similar opinions so far, and quite a few dissimilar.
Yeah, I would say there was a little moment for me was that I was then putting that at number 11. I was like, if I don't put a top 10, does that make me racist?
That's not what makes you racist.
No, it's my opinions. Anyway, so at least for us, we're going to pause it there because we got shit to do and places to be, but we will reconvene this, and if things are a little bit different in the next part, it's because of that. So just thought I'd do that. So see you in literally a moment. And guys, this is us back doing our top 10. What was supposed to be, what was it, 3 days later, Joshua, we were supposed to do it?
It is 3 days later.
It's for continuity reasons.
Had a haircut.
Yeah, I've had a haircut. I've had a shave. I look like a bum in the last one.
You always look like a bum.
Alright, calm down. Jesus. So we've come back to it eventually. For continuity reasons, I made Josh take off his new Christmas jumper with the one that he had last week, which you can't even see from this angle. No, but I mean, it's the one you're going. That was Christmas, yay. But yeah, so that is So we thought we'll continue with our top 10 now. So guys, number 10. I'm not going to put graphics in.
Are we still doing that?
I didn't realise the first half was going to go on this long.
Continuity reasons.
I have to now, but I didn't know it was going to go on this long, the first one, and that was too long, and I thought it was going to be an easy edit, so I might not do it, but we'll see. Anyway, so number 10, Joshua, what is your number 10?
I feel a lot of pressure this time.
Right, okay.
But I've gone for Iron Man.
Ooh, okay. A little bit higher up on the list than some people would put, but please, why would you put Iron Man number 10? What made him better than the rest, but not as good as the best?
Again, we mentioned upon this before. I wrote this list quickly after watching all the movies once. Mm-hmm. I hadn't wanked over all the movies like you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
But I think Iron Man had more to offer than Doctor Strange. It introduced us to, in my opinion, the best character.
I think a lot of people agree with you there.
And that was a great introduction. And you can really see Tony Stark's arc as everything goes on. So I think it was a good introduction in that sense. I think it was the first sort of movie, proper blockbuster superhero movie of its time. I never got the sense that the original Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire were like that. Like, it wasn't such a big thing.
I think I might be looking at it in hindsight way, but I think you're right. I know. I remember the Tobey's ones coming out. They were huge, absolutely huge. But again, at the time, you still had Batman's that came out prior to that one.
No, the Batman's you're on about the early 90s ones.
Yeah. Well, because I don't think Dark Knight came out until 2008, wasn't it? Yeah. Something like that. I think it was about the year after. I think. No. I think Dark Knight came out. I think the following year was Dark Knight Rises. Anyway, but I get what you mean. I do get, because I think in hindsight you think because it started it all, you might think that blockbuster. I think it was different, and it started something that would end up being the MCU.
Yeah, so it was all about just big explosions, superhero stuff. It was pretty amazing at the time. I remember being at the cinema with a few boys from school. Mm-hmm. Don't want to name names just because I think I might be thinking of the wrong people.
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
But I remember being at the cinema and we were just watching the trailers for stuff, and then one was like, I can't wait for Iron Man to come up. And I'd never heard of it, and I thought they were on about the Iron Giant. Like the,
fair enough,
the tinned robot giant.
Do you know what I used to get mixed up with the Iron Giant and BFG?
Yeah.
I used to get them two mixed up for some reason, but yeah.
And I was just like, what's so amazing about that?
Yeah. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say Iron Man's better than the Iron Giant?
Yeah, because I think I saw the Iron Giant once.
As a kid, I'm going to assume.
No, last week.
Hey, listen, don't knock the children's programs and TV shows and films.
But I also think I saw that at the cinema.
Did you?
But with my mum.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tony Stark's personality, he pulls you in straight away.
Right, RDJ as what a person to bring into it with all the controversy surrounding him as well. But again, he just, even Stan Lee coming saying I could not have picked, they could not have picked a better person to be Tony Stark. He is Tony Stark. He is RDJ as Iron Man, and he literally. And RDJ looking like he's in near tears at it as well. So you're right. Again, what a personality. Again, the role probably wouldn't have normally have been played like that, but Robert Downey Jr. being himself was able to fucking grapple that role and just be like, "This is mine now."
I think we talked about this at the end of Infinity War or Endgame.
Yeah,
and it was just like, I can't imagine someone else
taking that role. Yeah, no, you can. You honestly, you're right. I can't see it myself either. It's someone will eventually have to. It's going to be hard to do it. Will be hard to do it, but someone will, and they'll be under a lot of pressure if they do. Like, I understand that within the world of the multiverse, you can get someone that could drop in just to be a random Tony Stark or a random Iron Man for one episode or one film, but to have someone that could be then picking up the mantle of Iron Man to then do that consistently in, let's say, the future MCU project. Yeah, that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be hard to do.
And I do get the point that as the universe has extended, films have got bigger, more imaginative. There's more blockbuster scenes. But in my opinion, this is the one that kickstarted it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Well, I mean, I think Transformers and all that stuff were coming out as well, but this was different. It was a superhero. The first signs before anyone could think, shit, we can actually make this into a franchise. We could do more with this than just be just one-off films here and there, you know.
And I never saw Transformers.
Did you not?
No. Should I?
No.
Okay.
No. Anyway, that's me on Frozen. I had to say something so quickly. Okay, cool. So my number 10, Joshua, is Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Volume 2. So, again, I agree with Iron Man should be in top 10. I haven't gone through him yet, so you now know he's in my top 10. But Guardians Volume 2, what I enjoyed about Guardians Volume 2 is that it built upon what was given to it. It gave a platform. Now, I think that a lot of sequels find it hard to build upon what comes after it. To build upon what came before it. So I think that obviously second sequels that after that successful, Godfather 2, Return of the Jedi. Is it Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, number 3.
Yeah, no, number 2. Hold on. No, because you have New Hope. I have Empire Strikes Back and then Return of the Jedi. Sorry, it's Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, that's mean. So they're building up there's a few that you could think of where you could think like, you know, they would be ones that are better. So I feel like that any sequel is under that scrutiny, and I feel like they didn't outshine Volume 1, but they did still keep consistent with their characters, consistent with how ridiculous it was, how funny it was. They made these characters and they continue making them so lovable, regardless of how majority of them weird they looked, apart from Peter Quill, you know. So I thought that the whole thing to do with Peter trying to find his family, the whole idea is we are your family, but then finding out his father killed his mother by planting a tumor in her head. Again, one of the biggest shocks I think the MCU has ever done. But moments in it was just so good. I thought it personally was me. It deserved number 10 because, they deserve number 10 and it deserving to be in the top 10 because I think James Gunn deserves all the plaudits for what he did. He spearheaded Guardians from the start, from what I understand, with asking Kevin Feige to do this, making it so he could bring in the actors he could bring in, being able to base his music around it. So, but again, I just think Guardians Volume 2 was great.
It was great.
There we go. Anything?
Which I'll get to later.
Right, okay. So that's our number 10. So, number 9!
Number 9. I've gone for Black Panther.
Ooh, okay. So, let me just... So, last time we spoke about this, I said that I thought it was good. I thought culturally it was significant. I thought it was very good. I thought that there was things I loved about it, but I think it fell short in some of its aspects. Now, what made you think it deserved? Well, what made it to be in top 10 for you?
It introduced us to. I would say it's introduced us to a whole new world in the Marvel universe. Mm-hmm. So, what's the continent called?
Wakanda.
Wakanda.
No, well, that's
Wakanda,
the country.
Like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh yeah, it's just a rip-off of The Lion King.
Yeah.
But with fighting. But the action sequences were great. We're introduced in Wakanda, like this hidden nation.
The concept of that is brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
That is just at the top of the world for everything.
Yeah.
Realistically, like what they can do medically, scientifically.
Yeah.
Like, it was fantastic, and they've just hidden themselves away like an Amazon tribe.
Just make shaking the camera. Yeah.
They've hidden themselves away like an Amazon tribe, but obviously to much better success. It was just amazing. The story arc was great. The actors were great.
Chadwick Boseman, who played Avenger, was fantastic as it. Again, fantastic. I thought his sister Shuri, she was great. Like, fun day, little relationship was great.
She was fun.
Yeah, she was so fun. Even Ulysses Claude, played by
Gollum.
Yeah, I was trying to find his real name.
Gollum.
How have I remembered his name, but actually not the actor's fucking name? Oh no, that's gonna wind me up. Anyway, so he was great in it, but Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger was fucking amazing. I thought, again, antagonist wise, I thought it was great.
And I remember a thing at the time when he first took off his shirt. Apparently, like, people in the cinema fainted.
Yeah,
just because of how hot he was.
Well, yeah.
And I thought, that's weird, man. His chest's all bumpy.
Yeah.
But he looks really fucking good.
He looks really good, really good. And it's his design alone. It's just that it's that they've found a great balance of not only keeping him modern the way that Michael B. Jordan character looks as Killmonger, but also giving him such authentic African sort of tendencies as well. So I thought I think they did so well with that, and there's so much good to do with the film. That's why it was my number 11. But for me, I thought them killing off Claw was a bit sort of I could have liked this character that a little bit more.
They could have done more of him.
A little more with him, I think it was just I thought the fact that they didn't have the soundtrack which they advertised beforehand in Black Panther, I was like, as the actual sort of I thought the CGI in some parts were good, but I thought the end CGI bit was, and when they're fighting on the train underneath and all the vibrating, I thought that was dog shit. But again, a dog shit. It wasn't that good. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was dog shit. I take that back. But then some of the great lines, like even the bit at the start when they're sort of going into whichever museum was. But no, I remember you pointing out, it was like they call it the British Museum or something like that.
It stole everything.
Yeah, where it's stole everything, and then Michael B. Jordan was like, "How do you think your ancestors got all this?" And it's like, "Oh, it's cold thing." And then even when he was like, again, I'm just picking up Michael B. Killmonger's moves at the end when he was like, "So what? So yeah, we could probably save you with the knife in his chest." He was like, "What? And be locked up? Nah, throw me in the water with my ancestors."
Yeah, that was a cold
line because they knew they would,
especially at the end of the film.
Yeah, to be like, they knew that it was better to be free than be like in bondage. I was like, and I think we brought, again, it's been about a week and a half since we've done this. I think I brought that up in a bit. So if I'm repeating myself, sorry guys. But yeah, but Black Panther, I think solid addition. Just for me, again, I was contemplating between that and Guardians 2, like whichever one was. So it could easily have been in my top 10.
Yeah. So what was your number 9, Jake?
My number 9, Joshua, is Spider-Man: Homecoming. Now, which we have spoken about previously, have spoken about on the channel and probably earlier in this. I'm a little bitch for Spider-Man. Adore it. Adore him. Adore the character.
Put it a lot further down.
Yeah, you put it as Homecoming. You put
it's probably like
14,
15.
14. Yeah, you put it as 14. So for me, it was the perfect balance of I think I may have brought Peter Parker and Peter Parker and Spider-Man. It was showing him again. We didn't get the backstory that we needed to see him getting bitten again. We were just straight into it from Civil War. We had some backstory to it. We had him dealing with the teenage life that we knew that a teenager would be having.
See, I think that was one of the best aspects of the film.
Yeah. Well, him actually having like dealing with teenager stuff.
Yeah.
Like him actually worrying about homecoming whilst also trying to deal with like sort of fighting crime. Wanted to ask out the girl he kind of likes.
Yeah, not just that film, both films.
Yeah, both films. Yeah. But again, that's what I thought was great about. I thought Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he's my favorite out of them because he is that perfect balance. But what they did well for me in Homecoming is that they found the perfect balance between showing how big, because they're in the MCU. It's showing because even though he's supposed to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, it's showing that he can't be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man because the advancements of everything so far in the MCU means that he can't just be dealing with like sort of like just like that. He has to be dealing with trying to stop planes going into skyscrapers and getting into Coney Island and stuff like that. So I think it made that perfect balance of showing like him wanting to be Avenger, having to deal with Avengers level stuff, but then also like, you know, trying to then battle with like the stuff at home, the stuff that's being a teenager. For me, it was just, again, the music was great and the cinematography was great, but Aunt May's gorgeous.
She is.
Marissa Tomei. I love the fact that rather than do I think it's Hobgoblin, they decided to keep Ned as his mate rather than turn him into like a villain against them. That Ned, you know, is big. Yeah. He ended up.
And why would they turn him into?
Because he's his character in the comics is a villain.
Oh.
Yeah. But again, it's.
I know in the Tobey Maguire films, it's Harvey's son, played by James Franco.
Yeah, James Franco. He turns. Yeah. So again, he turns into Goblin in the third one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
but
his
Goblin
dad was Goblin before.
Yeah. Goblin before that in one. Yeah. Oh God, you need to rewatch all the Spider-Mans, man. I mean, even Andrews, you need to rewatch. It's really enjoyable. Again, I remember.
Am I allowed to watch No Way Home?
No, not yet. Because you need to.
I need to ask this guy.
Yeah. I'll have to again because we're not probably going to.
It's been out for a good while.
Yeah, but I do think that I think I need to give you which ones that may come up in the film.
Okay.
That just so you understand references if I need to. So I'll have a little think about that. You don't have to watch it with me. You can watch it by yourself. But I do think I'll have a look into that just now. Not yet, just now. But yeah, so that's why I put Spider-Man Homecoming as my number 9. So we're going to take a quick commercial break from our sponsors.
You got sponsors?
No, of course I haven't. Right, number 8, Josh.
Yeah.
What's your number 8?
Ragnarok.
Ooh, that's lower than I expected.
It might have been higher.
Oh, yeah. A heads up. It's right. We're in the surprise.
I think we are really getting into
Very tired.
the top end of the elite films, in my opinion. I'm not knocking Black Panther, but I think the top 8, for me personally, is like the elite level. And there's a couple that stand out and will get their place.
Do you know what? If I could agree with you in my top 8 as well. I think I could. I could. If I was to draw a line and be like, yep, this... I get why. Because again, I was struggling about those 3, Spider-Man, Guardians, and Black Panther as well. So I agree that if we were to do a top 8, that would be where it'd be the peak, I'd say.
Yeah, it's like if you're doing Ballon d'Or voting.
Yeah.
If you do it one week, you might pick Messi. If you do it another week, you might pick Ronaldo. Mm-hmm. And if you do it another week, you might pick Haaland.
Yeah.
No one's picking Ronaldo anymore.
No, of course, yeah.
But you get the argument.
Yeah, but you get the same number, the people that you'd be looking at each week.
They're always going to be.
And if I would pick, if I was pick the ones that could be arguing, is in like, where I started struggling. It definitely was this point down. It actually was. That's a very good point. So why is then number 8 then Ragnarok?
So what do I do? Am I telling you why I think it's good or why I don't think it's better than the others? It's a difficult decision.
I'd say best way to say it is why isn't it? I say why is it better than why is it better than Black Panther? Would you say?
So I was already invested in Thor.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I loved Thor 1. Mm-hmm. And his whole other new worldliness, or like he's come to a whole new world. Mm-hmm. So I love that. Mm-hmm. And the character just developed and his storyline developed. Loki, brilliant. Like Loki is a brilliant character.
Fantastic character. Brilliant character. Tom Hiddleston's great.
And then the whole thing about that bitch of a sister they never knew about.
About Hela. Goddess of Death.
Your dad, you find out your dad's a slut.
Well,
And you've got a sister you didn't even know about.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, played.
I think she's
great as well.
She was a great character.
She's so good.
She played the character great.
Yeah. She was great. I have to again because Ragnarok is in my top 8. I haven't said where it is yet, but again for me, I think we could go more into that because I'll be eventually talk about whether that's next or whether that's later on. But why would it then be? Why? So this thing is this top thing, but again, why? Even though it's like you're more invested in the characters, do you think the storyline in Ragnarok was better than Black Panther? Would you say, or did you enjoy it more because it was more space battles and Hulk? And
I probably enjoyed it more because it was a bit more space battles,
more comedic.
More comedic. There seemed to be more. I can't remember the right word, but there sort of felt like more on the line just because we knew Thor, we knew the backstory, and then the way he had to tie up his sister with I can't remember the other villain's name.
Oh, with Surtur. When he brought Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the way that ending, and it was like, okay, it's not a physical place.
Yeah, so
it's an idea.
Yeah,
and
so
we
Asgard
can rebuild this idea of Asgard.
Asgard is not a place; it's a people.
And then what happens immediately afterwards? Wow. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, they get fucked up.
Yeah, but the way it ties in together is just brilliant in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? I'll agree. Again, I will suck. Ragnarok's dick in a moment, momentarily, but I think that's a good bit to leave with Ragnarok. My number 8 is Civil War.
Ooh.
So Civil War. What I literally, and this is how it gets hard for me, is that I was contemplating where these would go. Now, Civil War for me I thought that it was amazing for what it is, what it showed, but I think that it was very, very, there was so much crammed in, and I love that it was crammed in, but I do think that it was crammed into what would be a mini Avengers without it actually being an Avengers film.
It was an Avengers film.
It was an Avengers film, but it wasn't actually an Avengers film. That's what I mean. And I feel like... It wasn't because it was a Captain America film.
It was an Avengers film.
It was a Captain... Anyway, my point is that I feel like that it could have... Again, a brilliant film, but the reason why I put it... I don't know. I feel like... If it could have been a little bit longer, I know already is great, but if it could have been a little bit longer, I think it could have been spaced out certain more scenes and stuff like that. That's for me, if thinking of it like that. When why it's better than the other ones, it should have I shouldn't have to just, let you know why. It's a mini Avengers film, and you get introduced to Spider-Man in it because I know you're going to eventually bring up it. Get introduced to Spider-Man in it. You get them fighting each other. You get the fight in the airfield. Ant-Man gets introduced to the other Avengers now, so you get all that. And then I just think the development of Tony and Captain, as it is in the actual comic, which I have there if you want to read. Nothing like the film, but whereas like in the comic, where it is Tony versus Cap, where they both have alternate sort of ways of looking at how they need to be sort of make sure they keep in line. It's that they were such two characters to be going up against each other. Both of them believe in what they're doing is for the right reasons, but looking at it in both different ways. And I don't know. I just think that the Russos directing it as well as like great stuff. But yeah, but again, I personally, let's put it this way, I think going forward, these ones for me were more to do with after this. The reason why these ones got ahead to me because of firstly the build up to what these films eventually ahead of it would be, the shock value of what they did because of what I expected and what I didn't expect from them, and then how they changed the game. So that's why those ones have come ahead of it for me personally. Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
We'll get back into it.
We'll get back into it. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. Joshua, number 7.
Well, you just touched upon it. Mm-hmm. Not just, but Guardians 2.
Okay. Guardians 2, number 7 for you. Ooh, that's a little... Yeah, okay.
I think Guardians has the best bunch of characters. All of them together. All of them are just funny in their own way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, their personalities is what really brings the films to light.
Yeah.
Whereas Batista's just like dumb...
Yeah.
Big hard man.
Yeah, but a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Quill is just amazing.
Yeah, big old dancer again, just too mushy sometimes.
Yeah.
But again, they all have their great parts, but then they also have like loads of flaws as well. And that's what I love about it. They lean into their flaws as well.
But it built on the first film with more action. But this one took the story in a different direction, where it was actually pretty deep and pretty like heartbreaking with the twist.
That twist, mate. Like I only watched the clip the other day again of you literally being like from when that happened, and then I paused it just that little bit too soon afterwards. You're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, mate, it's just." Again.
But it was a fantastic film. And Guardian, I haven't watched any other Marvel movies after we've completed the series. Mm-hmm. But the one that I'm most looking forward to is the next Guardians. Mm-hmm. Just because of who they are, what they do together.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And there's, like, not a lot extra to say.
From what I've gone on, you're gonna, of course, this way, because we're all gonna be talking about the same sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I get that, but I would say then, what then made it better then for you than Ragnarok then?
I think
both space battles, both funny.
Both space battles. I think all the characters together is just better than the sum of Thor and Loki. The heart-wrenching twist was just massive.
Yeah,
it really was massive.
Huge.
Yeah, and it is just like the Bad Batch just thrown together, just a ragtag bunch of
just sort of misfits.
Yeah, but superheroes put together and they're like this really good team.
Yeah.
It works so well.
Yeah, I like the fact that they first film again they don't gel together, and the second one they're trying to gel together without actually sort of like being able to gel together too much, because obviously Quill and Rocket are fucking like war with each other, and then Quill's at war with Gamora, and like not war, but like they're just constantly bouncing off each other. Whereas I think the third film, there's just, again, you haven't seen it without ruining it, there's a lot of more harmonious in there, sort of like, which is nice. But yeah, no, I think that's a great pick. I honestly, I'm glad that it's in your top 10. I'm glad it's in your top 8. But yeah, so yeah, without. Good.
What have you gone for?
Number 7. This one broke my heart for number 7. The first Avengers.
Okay.
Yeah. So so for me, the first Avengers broke the mold. It definitely broke the mold. I remember seeing this in the cinema.
So I'll just say now, it's my number 6.
So it's one blow. So you might as well just talk together. So again, we'll talk together. So my number 7 is the Avenger, and it broke the mold with everything it did at the time. Like, again, I remember seeing the cinema with the uni lot, and it was just it was outstanding.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, I didn't know you at uni. I thought I was done with you for about 3 years. It was great. But then I came crawling back when they all went home. Anyway, but I watched it. Yeah, well, but so I watched it whilst at the cinema with the uni lot, and it was just
the way it brought all the superheroes together is fantastic.
I couldn't tell you any other like film series that has brought like that sort of stuff all together, where they've brought them all together into one film. I don't know whether they've just done films where they've already together, but for me, showing them coming into it, picking them out one by one, the level of threat that is Loki and an army coming their way to then sort of and then them getting together, knowing that the best thing for them to do is to try and save Earth. They're still fighting with each other.
Yeah. So there's always clash of personalities, because we've already talked about Civil War and
of course, because again,
at the start, like obviously the two biggest egos in different ways, Captain America and Iron Man.
Yeah, of course.
Iron Man just because he thinks he's the dog's bollocks.
Yeah, well,
Captain America just because he thinks he's righteous.
Yeah, righteous. Yeah, the righteous.
And those egos, and then the rest of them just complementing it, because I think they do in that film.
Oh, easily.
No one else really tries to step into that. And it's just great. It mashes together really, really good.
Again, I thought it was great. Hold on, I'm going to fix this camera because I think it keeps on going out of focus. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. So one of the things that what it's good about it as well is that they did it where Hulk knew, I'm overpowered. I don't want to be in this situation, and they were like, "We need you," and they did it to hold him back. Again, showed how it was him and Natasha that first met up, like her trying to convince him, trying to calm him down in the first film, obviously suggesting what eventually happens later on. But that sort of build up of it was again with them two. I thought what was great as well is that they obviously didn't think at the time, but they took Clint out of the took out of it all. When like made Hawkeye, even though they were like everyone's like it's Hawkeye, who really cares? Hawkeye was fucking them over a lot.
Clint is amazing.
Okay, but I could show
Never a bad word.
Oh yeah, okay, but yeah, but they did that again, which subverted everyone's obviously thoughts about it because again, when you think about it, he literally was running rings about them at points as like when he was under Loki's sort of like perception. The whole concept of Loki coming there to literally try and just take over a world so he could be king of a world, to take out on his family and his brother, like. But again, the conflict of it all to eventually the conflict resolution, which is just sublime. Again, and the money they pumped into it. Again, you don't see that much effort put into a lot of Avengers. Well, at that point, the Avengers films, again, they put money in, but the money they put into the Avengers films rather than the other, it looked flawless. Even when we watched it, it still stood up.
I suppose it was a risk at the time because it had never been done.
Never done. Too much money. They had to put so much money into it. Having all these big actors, and again, all of them, even though some of them were only just starting off, you still had Scarlett Johansson, you still had Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo had made a name for himself by now, but Chris Hemsworth and
Evans.
Evans kind of had a name for himself, but again, they were all sort of like coming through, so they still had like big names to it. They still people had a lot of expectations, so they had to make it work, and it did. It completely worked, and I think that. We got obviously the bits where we were hoping for, where it was one-on-one moments, where it was Captain America versus Loki, and then it was then Hulk versus Thor, and then you had Cap versus Thor versus Iron Man in the woods, and then you got all those moments where it was like, yes, this is the build up of the characters, showing how good they are, and then that last like half an hour of the film in New York was outstanding.
The best moment is when Loki's like, "I am a god."
Oh, and then
Hulk
throws him around. Yeah, puny god. Yeah, it's what a great thing. Well, again, the comedy time of it as well was like they did so well to find the moments of comedy in it where it was. I think it was so much more accurate to how fun and whimsical an Avengers film could be. Which again, it was nice again, but then after a while, once you see all the sort of films kind of go that way, and it's like, I change it up. That's why Winter Soldier and Civil War was so good. That's why Guardians was different. It was whimsical in a different way. But by that point, how that stood out for us, because again, you watched it in the same order. By the time that eventually you watched it, you were like, wow, it was different. But again, for me, even though that was my number 7, I don't know, is that I personally think the Avengers comes before my number 6.
Okay, so what's your number 6?
Your number 6 was... No, Josh's number 6 was Avengers as well, but my number 6 was Winter Soldier. Now, the reason for me why... Your Winter Soldier, Josh, you put Winter Soldier...
Like 15, something like that?
15. You put it 15, which is what I was generally shocked about, is that for me, it blew my tits off when it came out, because, again, it was just... It changed my ways of looking at Captain America. Captain America went from the righteous dweeb in his like little spandex suit to being just sort of there like, I'm a Cap. Again, still liked him in the films, but again, it was like to go from that to then being literally him being masterful in so many different types of fighting. That scene alone on the boat scene where he takes on the French like sort of fighter when he puts his shield away just to beat him up himself.
Yeah.
And then that moment there, he's running around, literally stealth. He's being stealth-like. He's literally just kicking them off the boat into the water, crushing their bloody rib cage whilst he's doing it still. But again, it changed at the story writing. It was that sort of thriller to it as well, because you didn't know who to trust, what to do. It was different from the other ones. I thought the music for the Winter Soldier was brilliant. I'm not saying that the Winter Soldier reveal for me as Bucky was like, oh my god, because again I was like, what? But then. I was like, until you said Bucky, I was like, but again, I thought the music for it was good. It was the introduction of Falcon as well. I thought he was great to be brought into it as well. I don't know. For me, it was, again, it's storytelling as well of how it was told. Like, the sort of, like, showing Bucky eventually being the Winter Soldier, him just turning up being ominous as fuck, but Bucky eventually being the Winter Soldier, showing his flashbacks, showing him, like, sort of, like, it was actually, it was Redford, Robert Redford. Is it Robert Redford is the actor's name? I can't remember the actual character's name, but it was Nick Fury's mate that actually betrayed him. Yeah. Nick Fury actually being alive, and then it was just, I don't know. I just thought, and it was the first time where like I felt like, you know, where more so in that period when they showed it is that where I felt like you could actually be. They were literally showing the Winter Soldier literally stab people up. It was literally showing them the ideas, but again for me it subverted Captain America's sort of like a bit of a sort of a dweeb sort of look, I guess, being more like, oh, you're fucking badass. So yeah, so that's why I personally would put it 6. But I thought the storytelling and the writing was brilliant as well, and the direction. I thought the Russo brothers were brilliant, which eventually they got Civil War, and eventually did Infinity War and Endgame.
I stand by my decision.
At 15, so there's this. Okay. But yeah, so do you want to tackle my opinion on that in any way, or are you ready to move on?
No, I'm not saying it was a bad film.
No.
I reckon. So, like I said a little bit earlier, my top 8 are like, in my opinion, the elite level, and then between that and maybe like 18, it is. Could all go either way.
Yeah.
Like middle of the table.
Yeah.
Like West Ham, are they going to finish 14th? They're going to finish 7th.
Yeah. Go. I mean,
You could see it either way.
Yeah, but you wouldn't put it. You put the team with me. This is elite, and I think a lot of people would consider elite. Again, I think we watched it.
What does Perry rate it?
I think that's Perry's number 1.
Yeah, so that's not by my decision.
But yeah, no. For me, it's one of those ones that again for me it just changes genre, but it is. I put it that way. But again, now we're into our top 5 now.
4.
Your number 5 is Thor.
Yes.
Right. Now, let me just put down here Avengers for you. Now, you're saying you're shocked about Winter Soldier being in top 5. Now, if you literally said to people, right there, get their top...
So you put 4 a lot lower, didn't you?
17.
Yeah, I thought 4 was amazing.
I don't know...
I remember the first time I watched 4 with you.
Yeah.
I was like, this is brilliant.
Yeah, no, I know in my head I was like, oh, he's got so much more to come, he's going to enjoy more. I did not think that come this list that it would actually be this high. I thought it would be like maybe about 11, 12-ish.
4 was brilliant.
I actually cannot believe it. For me, again, tell me why Thor was so good for you.
Oh my god. So the introduction to Thor, what he brings in terms of character development, coming from another world, you just see him adjust into everything. The comedy was great. The first bit of action sequences were really good. What's his little band of like
the Warriors 3, yeah.
The Warriors 3
Lady Sif and the
coming in.
Warriors 3, yeah.
Like all that come together at the end. That was really good. The main thing about it for me, the action was good.
But it was the love story. It was the love story. It was the love story.
Just him and Natalie.
Yeah. Him and Jane Foster. I mean, for me, again, I get
Portman.
Natalie Portman, yeah. But for me, is that again, I thought we followed the trope of. By this point, I'm like, I've seen this enough. This sort of thing. Again, I like the whole fish out war. It still makes me laugh. Love the characters. I think Darcy's great as well. You know, again, you get son of Coulson. No, hold on.
That's one of my favourite bits.
Yeah, it's what was it son of Cole? Yeah, Cole. Yeah, that's it, son of Cole. So that's what I mean. So again, I get what you mean. Is that these little things, but I don't know. I think I've seen that sort of type of film a bit too many times for me to be like, yeah. Again, for me by that point, I was a bit a bit kind of. I didn't necessarily need the love interest. Don't get me wrong. I did enjoy it. And I did enjoy watching it with you because you're very invested in those sort of those characters and their relationships. So I enjoy that bit. And I think as we watched it more, I've enjoyed it more watching it with you in those moments. So it's like this is it. But I don't know. For me, is that I think that I followed it was an introduction to Loki, which did not reach the level of Avengers.
Yeah, Loki's introduction to the series wasn't.
It was in hindsight you could call it lackluster. At the time it was still probably good.
It's just because as it's gone on,
yeah,
he's just
of
better
course,
and better.
Of course, it was his awakening. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was just the beginning for Loki to eventually become what he was. So I get that, but I don't know. I'm very aware. So yeah. So for me, I would say that Thor it followed the outlines of the other stories that came before it and came after it, and I just I don't know. I wouldn't personally put it at number 5. Okay. But you know what I would put as number 5?
I'm gonna guess.
Go on.
Guardians?
No.
Okay.
Number 5 is Iron Man 1.
Ooh.
Now, you spoke about it. For me, Iron Man 1 sets the tone going forward. Looking back at that, when I first watched it, I was like, this is amazing. When I've rewatched it rewatched it by myself, like later years later, I thought this is still amazing. And when I rewatched it with you, I remember thinking like, this is actually outstanding. The direction, the risk they took with putting, like I said, RDJ involved, because he had this whole thing to do with drugs and like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And this is a big thing for, like, you know, Marvel to, like, so like they had Jon Favreau had to convince them to let it happen, like, because they know let it happen, like, this is the guy, we need this. And it changed everything going forward. I just thought it was well directed, well acted, great having bloody what's his face there as well as the Jebediah, Jeff Bridges, having Jeff Bridges there as the villain. He's like his like sort of father figure after his father left. His whole story of actually the concept of his story is brilliant, I think, as well. And arms dealer built off of building weapons, then realizing I'm not going to be a part of this anymore. I'm going to become the weapon and make sure that no one else has the weapons. It's that sort of like sheriff of the world sort of vibe to it. And I thought, I don't know. I just think, and it was just, the music is great.
The
soundtrack is so good. It's so good. They pumped so much money into it as well, so it looked great. The moments where he goes off into like again, I think it's very much remnant of some of the downfalls of it is that it's very much remnant of like the Americans going to the Middle East and taking out sort of baddies, which don't get me wrong, in the film they're baddies, but it's very remnant of that. It's like, come on, it's a trope by this point, but again, it's so cool, that moment where he literally fucking shoots a tank where it's like smaller rocket, turns away, walks away. Yeah, cool guys don't look at explosions.
I was just
thinking that. I think for me, it was just everything. The design of Iron Man as well, and the concept of what Tony Stark is that he's a billionaire playboy
philanthropist.
There's another one. There's like genius billionaire playboy philanthropist.
Yeah, something like that.
Philanthropist. There we go. There's a scene in Always Sunny, because you haven't watched it. He basically tell him he's on his blind date and he's nervous, and they basically tell him, like, just tell the girl you're a philanthropist. And he says he can't remember. He's got like he can't remember what it is because he's like got dyslexia and stuff like that. So he goes, I'm a full-on rapist.
Oh,
Watch Sunny, you fucker. Anyway. So that's why Iron Man for me is my number 5. I know it was in your top 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know it's up there. Like, why for me again? I think it has a place in every Marvel geek / nerd / lover's heart.
So here is what I think. I think it's up there for you for nostalgia.
I think that's definitely a part of it. I do think it's definitely a part of it. But also, I still think it still stands up. Is that I don't think that it's like I don't think you look back at it and go, oh, this looks a little bit weak, the storytelling, or because it was the start of the storytelling of Marvel. So you're like, this was its beginning. Mm-hmm. So, but again, it's definitely, I've still got maybe the nostalgia tinted glasses on, but still, I think it's top notch. But yeah, so that was my number 5. We're in the crunch time now, so we've only got a crunch time amount of time. Actually, I probably should, we'll take the risk.
Guardians 1, number 4.
So Josh's number 4 is Guardians 1. Hold on, let me just grab my phone because. Right, Joshua said
Guardians.
Okay, you already said it. Sorry, we got phone. My number 4, Joshua. Guardians.
Oh, thank God for
Lovely
that.
stuff. Right, so why is Guardians your
That's
number 4?
brilliant.
It's fucking brilliant, wasn't it?
Okay,
I think we're so excited.
So I know I said about elite level earlier.
Yeah.
Now we're in the top of the elite level.
Yeah, we're in the top league. Yeah, this is the you pay a lot of money for this type of whore, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's the cream of the crop. It's. I mean, for me, don't get me wrong. I would say, yeah, but again, yeah, this is where I was like, I didn't know where I was going to put things, but yeah, Guardians. Good.
Soundtrack amazing.
Perfect.
Peter Quill's introduction
Brilliant.
amazing.
That opening scene, him doing all the dancing, throwing around. Yeah, great stuff. Yeah.
Even the silly stuff like Groot.
Well, again, that's what I remember because I said to you at the time, the trailer for this blew everyone's tits off because I had no idea what the fuck this was. A lot of people didn't know what this was. So when it was a raccoon and a tree going around shooting stuff, we were like, this looks like the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
So the fact that, I thought that, again, it's the concept of it all alone, it's so out there. It's so crazy, but realistically, a lot of those films don't work because you can get those sort of films that are like on straight to DVD sort of films.
But it's like we're saying, the misfits thrown together really works. It's like, it's kind of the opposite of the Avengers.
Yeah, no, because
Like,
again,
none of these guys should be heroes.
no, they shouldn't be heroes. They're good.
But together,
yeah, they work out. Yeah, and it's the journey of them all together. They're all being selfish.
Yeah.
And then once they realise, then eventually all of them, because Rocket sort of tries his best a little bit longer, most not to do it, but eventually they're all like, "Oh, this is for the good of the galaxy. We need to step up." I think that again, it's just the way that again a lot of people moan about certain characters. I think a lot of people will go moan more about Dave Bautista's Drax, not because like David Bautista, because they made him a joke, whereas Drax the Destroyer in the comics like is supposed to be fucking badass. At one point, apparently in the comics, he kills Thanos. So that's when he's supposed to be like a really badass character. But again, it's one of those ones where
I can only go off what I've seen, Jake.
Exactly. So that's me, and I think that Dave Bautista again, what a career he's had because of this, and he deserves it. He's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
But again, James Gunn at the helm for the music, for the writing, for the directing. He envisioned this, and they made it there. Like they subverted a certain part of MCU that they thought they couldn't do, because Thor, for example, was one that they were like, it's not working. Space isn't working. They don't want to see space. And then Guardians Space came and they're like, right, get Thor 3 on the phone. We're making it Guardians-ish. Get Taika Waititi in. And then it was like, that worked. And it's just like...
Space isn't working. Have they not seen Star Wars?
Well, exactly. Imagine they didn't see... Idiots. But that's what I thought... The passion that the characters, the person James Gunn had behind it, that went into the actors, because all the actors knew that this was a big shot for them, you know, and they had to have that passion for it as well. And then I for me and for you as well, it's our number 4, and it's out. Yeah, I'm so happy with us. Yeah,
I like it when
we're on the same page. Yeah.
It's probably the 5th time I think it's happened.
Yeah, but yeah,
give or take.
Yeah. But I'm very glad with that. So yeah. So, do we move on?
We need to.
We need to. We actually have to move. Right, Josh, you're number 3.
I'm going to say it now. I would be so shocked if we don't have the same 1 and 2 in the same order.
Okay, cool. But our number 3s. Hold on, what is your... Okay.
We can't have the same number 3.
No.
You've already mentioned it.
Yeah. But I know your number 3 is Avengers 1, isn't it?
No, I've talked about Avengers.
Did you? Oh yeah, and what's your number 3?
Civil War.
Civil War! Yeah, so why Civil War so down the road? Like, number 3 for you?
Yeah, it's just Avengers. It is an Avengers film.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it is. But the conflict between, like, Captain America and Iron Man, and then all these guys, like, picking sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
People that you didn't want opposite each other. Clint and Natasha, Vision and Wanda.
Yeah, these relationships broke.
I forgot to mention we get Black Panther in it as well. I forgot about that bit.
And they're all... It's just...
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, you're right. I agree.
The airport fight was brilliant.
Oh, it's fantastic. So good. Different, like, sort of people fighting each other. Ant-Man popping up, turning into Giant Man.
And that was the introduction to Spider-Man?
Yeah, introduction to Spider-Man. The first come.
Spider-Man coming and just, like,
that
straight in.
Should be, yeah.
And just his little quips during the fight.
Probably the most Spider-Man I've ever...
He's fighting and introducing himself to people.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Even little bits when he's just like, when one of them throws something and he was like, hey buddy, I held you, you think you lost this? And he turns around, he's throwing it back at him. And then even then he was like, sort of like, he's having talks with Captain America. He's like, wow, that shield doesn't obey the laws of physics. And it's like, that's like, these are the quips. I love these quips. These are the quips that Spider-Man does. Yeah. I think they needed more in the other films of that. But
then if we talk about twists, I suppose it wasn't really a twist because we sort of knew.
Oh no! But again,
the sort of emotional side of Iron Man vs Captain America and the reason behind it.
Yeah,
that was pretty deep.
No, it was very deep. Again, you know what? I agree. I didn't bring up. I thought. What do you call it? What's his name? Oh my god! The guy, the Baron that plays it, basically the guy who's to get to make them find each other. I think it was great, as in the whole concept is that it wasn't a superhero, it wasn't a supervillain that was behind it all. Yeah, it was just a man who knew Zemo, Baron Zemo. He basically knew that he couldn't do it himself, and he had to turn them against each other. And I thought that's a great concept. That bit with the Bucky at the end, I did not expect that at all. Did not expect it to be Bucky. Completely threw me off. And I actually, without going too much into it, I came across on Twitter literally only, I think, yesterday or the day before, that scene when Tony finds out, seeing the footage for the first time of it being of being the Winter Soldier, and literally I went to the comments, and literally I'm so glad that to this day everyone's like, I'm still Iron Man. I'm still Team Iron Man. I don't care how much Cap is right in the sense he should be right in what he's saying, because it is he didn't know what he was doing. He killed his mother. He killed his father. And it's like any person will respect what Tony was going to do. Not respect, but accept probably what was going to happen. But yeah, do you know what? Here's the thing: is that we're going to do this, and even when I leave this, I'm like, I could have put something here and there.
You're going to reassess.
I'm going to reassess it, and then when I do the edit, I'm like, I could reassess this. I think this issue with me and with you and with anyone is the list will forever change.
Yeah.
But I will stand by where I put it, because again, the other ones for me, it's so hard that crunch Nate for me. But yeah, I have to admit, Civil War again, it's fantastic. But
so what have you put as number 3?
Number 3, I have put in Thor Ragnarok.
Really? Ooh.
So I will stand by this, that Thor Ragnarok again. By this point, I watched Taika Waititi's maybe 1 or 2 films. I think maybe even just 1 film, and I was like, this is hilarious, that film. And so when I saw he was doing it. And then I can't remember. I was like, I knew it was gonna feel again. It had that Guardians feel. That's what I was like. All right, cool. It feels spacey. You then got the comedy in the sort of the trailer alone. You got Hulk involved, and I was like, this is brilliant. When I then went to see it, I was like, this is so funny. Korg as a character alone was bloody brilliant. That little even something so simple as like, hey guys, when you're using the weapons, could you clean up after yourself? Disgusting pigs or something like that. I'm like,
honestly, I love the character of Thor and what he brought in terms of his sort of like unassuming funniness, because he's just fish out of water, like you said. Korg's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Again, brilliant. Yeah. Again, and it's just, and what it is that I love about it is because
he's like, back off, ghost.
Piss off, ghost.
Yeah.
I must mean is that it changed again, like how Garda changed. This one was a different level of comedy, and it was just so smelly. And people will say, there's people in there who rate Thor: The Dark World higher than anything because they love that Shakespearean view of what they want Thor to be. So when people knew Ragnarok was happening, they were like, "Oh my god, this is actually going to be the level that it should be shown this way." So when eventually it was turned into a big joke, a lot of people were pissed off with it. But for me, is and I was not there. I was done with the Thor franchise because I was like, I'm done with it. Because one was like, for the first one I was like, it's alright. Second one I was like, this is god awful. And then, well, eventually, obviously, that in hindsight now, it's not as bad as that one saw, but it's still good. But then when that one came into it, and just everything about it, Hela, the goddess of death, was just so emo, sexy. It was brilliant. Having Banner there as Hulk and Banner, Hulk talking. Well, we didn't have that previously, except for maybe a line or two. And then him, then even like, and then I feel like Taika Waititi brought the comedy out of everyone he could, like, did. He was able to make every character funny. Loki was hilarious, like, and not just his menacing.
So I might mention this before, but a few months ago, my aunt came over from New Zealand, and she met my aunt's husband for the first time.
Yeah.
So, and like, one of the first things he tried getting the conversation about was...
Oh, was he? Yeah, was he said something? He was like...
Taika
Waititi, yeah, that was it, yeah. That was
just
it,
like straight in. Oh, you're from New Zealand.
Yeah, Taika Waititi, is he a legend over there as well? Yeah. I mean, yeah. But again, what I loved about it as well is that I think that it still gave the moments of sadness and people that it could do. Like, for me, that I still cry when Odin says goodbye to his sons, when he's like, I love you. Even I'm getting a little bit teary just thinking about it. When he's like, I love you, my sons. Like that sort of thing. When Thor's then talking to his dad in his like sort of memory, he's like, I'm not as strong as you, and it's like, you're stronger. I'm there, like it says. So it still gives you that moment whilst also showing it. But then it sometimes gets undercut. Even there when he's like, when some people hate that moment when like it shows like sort of Surtur like putting the sword into Asgard, and then Korg being Korg is like, don't worry, it'll be a foundation for all peoples across the galaxy to come, and then bam, he's like, nah, those foundations are gone. Again, but a lot of people again went up. But I don't know. For me, it was just for me, it was a starting. Here's the problem. For me, that happened, and then obviously we got. I can't remember what comes out. I think after that was it Black Panther? Maybe I can't remember what came after that. I think maybe in Black Panther.
I don't know.
Or yeah, can't remember what came after that. That like before. My mind's gone blank now. But again, it was just sort of like the build up to Infinity War was there, and that moment, even things like, and then again, Loki, him and Thor Thor and Loki having their moments as well. It was so nicely done. It needed a change, and I was happy with it. But yeah, that was my number 3.
Okay.
Right, number 2.
Okay, so you've...
Number 2! I've looked at yours, it's the same as mine.
Yeah.
So number 2, Infinity War.
It's amazing.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, Thor turning up into Wakanda with Stormbreaker, Rocket, and Groot is still one of the most peak moments of my life.
So there's bits in every film.
Yeah.
Like, I've rewatched in terms of just like the Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
best bits
yeah.
tied to with E.T.
Yeah.
And just like the action sequences. Infinity War and Endgame are the only 2 films.
Have you rewatched back?
No, I haven't. But I've actually been like, I want to watch the film again.
You have to, honestly.
But we're doing our thing, so
yeah,
I've just left it at 1 each.
Yeah. No, that one's...
But after this,
Has Alice seen them all?
I don't care.
You can do what I've done with you with your girlfriend.
No.
Okay, fuck her. But okay, fair enough. But yeah, again, is that it's just the Infinity War for me was you've been building. I've been building up for you as well.
Everything's been building up.
It's been building up for you, for me, because I've been telling you this is coming and you know it's coming. Yeah. But for me, it was a bit longer. But still, you've still had the build up to this. So once it then all comes to fucking,
and I knew something was building up.
Yeah,
and it built up well.
Well, exactly. So story so well told, so well split up. Wasn't all in one place. Everyone being told having. And loads of people giving their moments, and if they didn't get their moment, they got their moment in Endgame after that.
So the opening, when
again my favorite scene of the whole film.
That was such a like.
It sets a tone.
Sets a tone. It's like just jumping into the deep end.
Yeah, exactly. Literally sets a tone. Shows that the ships have been destroyed and like the Asgardians have fled.
And like Thor gets fucking whipped about.
Yeah, smacked about. He gets
like a little bitch.
He gets then the Infinity Stone. Hulk gets absolutely fucked up. That's one of my favorite. I think that is my favorite scene. That sets the tone perfectly. Is that Hulk comes in? Sorry, I meant to say Hulk. I think Hulk comes in and he then tries to fight Thanos, and they're like, "Let him have his fun." And Ebony Mars like that, and then he's like, bam, 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 giving him combos that literally knocks Hulk out to the point that he doesn't turn up for another couple of years. In that sense,
and
Loki then showing the god of mischief, who everyone adores, a god, literally then be like, "There will never be a god," and then he just snaps his neck. And that moment when he's going off, "No resurrections this time." I think it's, again, Thanos had some cold lines. Him turning up when he can just to do it. But again, for me, it's just because we only got a limited amount of times. I want to talk about this more, but it's.
So my thing is, the 2 films go together.
Go well together, yeah. Even though there was 2 films in between them, because we got Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel in between them, it didn't feel like there was a gap.
Ant-Man.
Come on, Ant-Man.
But the 2 films, Endgame, Infinity War, they go together so well.
Yeah.
It's tough to talk about one without talking about the other.
No, yeah, they bleed into. But to focus on Infinity War, if we can, we obviously going briefly over you having like the conflict between everyone trying to protect the stones on Earth, different parts of Earth. You have Vision with Wanda trying to make it work, and it is working. Vision obviously getting fucked up, and then you're then getting like Tony and Doctor Strange and Wong all working together. Spider-Man coming in and they're taking on these monsters in the middle of it. It's just to then literally then who'd have thought, like, again, where we'd got to with like the start of this with Iron Man, that Iron Man will be going into space with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man to then eventually meet the Guardians. It's wow.
And it's finally brought a lot of characters together.
Exactly. And
like Guardians are misfits.
Yeah,
the Avengers shouldn't really be misfits.
But they're not as what's the word I'm looking for? They're not as misguided, I guess, as the Guardians.
Yeah.
Whereas but again, what's great about it is that you still got a character that was Thanos as well, that you understood his mission. That's what was great as well, because again, Thanos in the comics, he falls in love with Mistress Death, and to try and sort of prove to gain her love, who's basically because she's ignoring him, he decides to then basically he presents the Infinity Gauntlet and he wants to destroy all of civilization. So that's why he's doing it for lovers. So whereas this one was more of a resources. He saw what happened to his home world, what happened to it when resources depleted and people ignore. So he needs them to, in his way, a humane way of resetting everything. And again, it's one of those things you're like, shit. It is a mission. You're like, I get it. And what was great about it as well is that he won. Again, everyone thought, oh well, Infinity War, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna have the next one. It's fine, things like that. But
that ending was hard.
That exactly showing him winning, doing a snap, him then eventually everyone going to dust. That moment with Spider-Man
saying, "Mr. Stark,
I don't want to go.
so
Yeah,
good."
I don't want to go. Yeah, and him just sitting there, it still makes me cry. I cannot help it.
Pussy.
I don't care. It still makes me cry. Like it's unreal what it does. And then for it to finish on him looking over, looking at a sunset on a graceful universe, which is what he said he'd do, and having that little smile as in like I did it. What a perfect way to end that film, Warden, and the whole series of what bleeded up to that point. And you think to yourself, there's no way they can top it.
But they did, Jake.
And that's where our number one is.
They did.
That is number one for both of us is Avengers Endgame.
So, the opening of Infinity War was great. The opening of Endgame was also brilliant. And it brought up more questions because within like 10 minutes, they killed
Thanos, yeah. Yeah,
and like
5 years later as well. 5 years later as well.
All right, what the fuck's going on now?
Yeah, again, it's just a crazy. Again, they did so well to because everyone in that time you won't know because you think, but in that time some people were saying like, well, I don't like Infinity War as much because I know they're just going to use the time stone and they're going to go back in time and stuff like that. Whereas, so a lot of people are trying to undercut it, but when the first 10 minutes happened and they saw because they were like they're just going to get the stones off him because they're just going to go to where he is. In that first 10 minutes when people who were all talking shit had to watch the only way of they thought it was going to be to watch them to fucking he used the stones to destroy the stones and Thanos to get his fucking head chopped off by Thor.
Yeah.
It was just outstanding.
And that was just Thor's emotion.
His journey on that thing. Again, don't get me wrong, people to this day are still like, oh, they just went into that trope because it's fat jokes. He's depressed, so he's fat. And it's like, all these people go down it, but still, it was like the fall from grace for what is supposed to be the archetype of the whole concept. Well, he looked more in this one how Thor from actual Norse mythology does look, but that it showed a full grace. He was normally a muscular, well trained, in control of himself guy to then being that he's filled with so much guilt that he can't even like sort of like sustain that lifestyle anymore, that he has to turn a drink, has to sort of turn to eating shit, doesn't look after himself anymore.
Okay, let's talk about the battle.
The battle. Oh, that battle. Oh, that battle. When that moment of on your left, and it turns out, have you seen that clip since then? You've rewatched that clip?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, to this day, I'll watch that clip and I'll still be so giddy watching it because showing them all come out, the music alone, everyone getting their moment of coming onto the screen. Like, have you seen the clip?
And everyone had their moment.
Yeah. Did you see the video of the like? Have you seen the audience reactions during it?
No.
Watch the ones with the audience reactions because again, there's certain ones. Don't watch the ones.
Why would I watch someone's reaction saying?
No,
this?
I mean as in it's. Loser that but it's the ones that it's showing the video of the actual video, but it's showing so people brought in recordings, so you just get actual packed out audience reactions at that time. It's brilliant. But anyway, but that moment, what a fucking scene to then everyone getting their little moment during the fight, people interacting that you never thought was going to.
It's like Return of the King battle sequence, Avengers.
Yes
They are both up there.
Yes, there's again they will be in modern film history for battle scenes that I think that some battle scenes that were in Game of Thrones were up there. If you think about that, I think the scenes in Gladiator was fantastic. Like, you know, those sorts of scenes, they will be up there. And that final scene, that final fight, that moment as well with Tony, it was just again of obviously I think you knew.
I cried, Jake.
You did. He did cry. He did cry. Wow, yeah, that blew my mind. I'd already cried about 5 times by that point.
That robot.
Yeah, that robot. Yeah, well. But what my hair's all over the place. I'm just getting so blown out of like just like sort of thinking about it myself now. But again, it was just everything about it was great. The fact how they dealt with time travel as well. How they didn't have to be. They didn't want to do it like it was like the whole thing was like, so Back to the Future is a whole bunch of bullshit. Like they didn't want it to be like as soon as you go back in time, that will then affect your future. It's that they said that then becomes your present at that time, and then your future past, because it's a whole thing. Your present then becomes your past. It's a whole thing. So I thought they dealt with the time travel thing as well. I don't know. I think it's just, again,
Tony's arc was amazing.
Brilliant. Again,
that's why he is the main guy.
Yeah. Again, to go from literally, which is what Captain America says in the first Avengers, he was like, "You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play to like sort of like cut the line the wire for the other guy to roll over you." I was like, I think I'd just cut the wire. He's the one that then makes the sacrifice play to then snap his fingers to save everyone. It's just, I mean, it's heartbreaking, the ending, but of course it needed, with RDJ was like coming up to 60. I think he's in 60 now. I think he must be in the 60s now. But
really?
I think so, possibly. You carry on talking whilst I quickly Google.
No.
But yeah, so I haven't got any internet. That's fine.
Okay.
The internet's shit at the moment. But yeah, so yeah, RDJ, again, but it needs to be done. But again, he had people who were leaving, like Natasha left. As again, that whole thing between her and Clint.
The whole journey to get the stone.
Yeah, heartbreaking stuff as well.
Yeah, the Natasha Clint one was especially heartbreaking.
Yeah,
they're both such like.
But you felt it.
They're not the main characters, but they're such big parts.
Of course, big part of it, but also such big parts of each other's lives, and and you felt that, because rather than it being the stupid stuff, "I'm going to survive," it was like, "No, let me kill myself to save you."
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful scene, and then Cap finally getting the end, and he deserves, because he needed to get. He even said, "I decided to get that life, that Tony." So he's finally, Tony said to him, he's finally listened to what his friend said. He went back in time, found the love of his life, and decided to live happily ever after. But again, obviously, we've talked at the start, we talked about the end. There's so much that happened in between, the traveling through time. Like, it's just it's because I know we're very short for time, but it's, again, to have what Infinity War was, to then trump that, to then one up it by. So like it's an achievement that they really need to be proud of, and I think they definitely are. But like, how can they like, think about it? At the time when you watched Infinity War, did you think they could ever beat that?
No.
And number one is Endgame. It came after that.
Infinity War was fantastic. Endgame just brought it up.
It was a different film in what it was, and it was.
Well, I don't even think it was that different. It just built on it. It added more.
Well,
It added more to the action sequences. It added bigger battles.
The first film was more in the moment, because literally it was like, Thanos is here, bah! As it was. Whereas this one, it was, Thanos is here, let's go beat you for 10 minutes, and then it was 5 years later. Then you were suddenly in the calm of the afterstorm, and it's like, what the fuck are we gonna do now? And I felt like that when they did the time travel stuff didn't feel rushed. Like, literally, you think about it, when we cut off the film, when I did the edits, the first hour pretty much was when they were going into time. Sorry, when they decided to then go, let's go back into time. Then the next hour was them going back in time and snapping the fingers. And then the last hour is basically then Thanos' army sort of turning up at the end, when there's that final battle scene. So it's they gave every big moment so much time.
Yeah.
And they didn't sort of speed up, and it just totally worked. But I mean, I think we should call it there, because we have to leave.
I think I'm gonna watch Endgame again.
I think you should. I actually, over the Christmas period, do you know what? Christmas film, Iron Man 3, baby. Iron Man 3, give it a watch.
I don't think
No,
it's like that.
but yeah, definitely watch them both. You don't have to watch the others. Like Infinity War followed by Endgame. Watching it the second time.
I might mix it up and do Endgame then Infinity War.
Oh shit! I don't feel comfortable with that. I might be here, and I'll just sense it in the air, like, who's doing it in the wrong order.
Sense of disturbance in the force.
Exactly. Like, do you remember when we're getting off topic, but you remember when Jake and Amy finally realised they're having a baby, and then we're having a baby, and then Charles wakes up and turns around, it's like, it happened. That's what I'm gonna be like. Anyway, but I do think we saw it. So overall, there we've done our top 10, top 23, our order. So I'm glad we did it. again, like I did in the last one, I'm glad we did this together. It's been fun. I'm glad now that you can now talk about this to other people, introduce other people to it, you know, if you do want to. But overall, it's been a absolute journey, and I'm glad we did it.
It's been a journey.
Are you not glad you did it? Right, no, keep the jumper on. We have to do the outro. Anyway, guys, so more than likely this will be our last video for this. I don't think we will continue. If we do, it'll be very shocking if we do. But again, if you have stuck out this far, this is going to be a long-ass video. But
it'd be like the Spice Girls coming back together again.
Oh, God,
No one wanted it.
But we might as well watch it. The 3 people that watch it might as well watch it. But yeah, so thank you again for watching this video. It's a bit different from the other ones. It's mainly basically podcast, this one. We don't have to any just watching us talk, so we do appreciate it, guys. But please, if you like the video, please like the video, comment down below if you have the time your list of films starting with 23 to number 1. If there's things that we have opinions on our type of films that you don't agree with, or you do agree with, or you want to add on, comment down below. That's great.
Yeah, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm a robot.
Tell him he's a robot. He still hasn't got over that, which is very unlike a robot. So, yes. Very proud of you. But again, if you like these types of videos, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, get a notification every time I upload. A bunch of other videos around here that I react to. I'm doing at the moment Star Wars Rebels, Doctor Who. I also do Doctor Who reactions with my little brother Charlie, but with the new Who, David Tennant's first season, went on that with him. But yeah,
I finished the Clone Wars.
Well, we're going to talk about that off fucking screen. But yeah, so overall, guys, yeah, if anything like that sounds like it takes your fancy, have a wee look, subscribe, notification bell, all that sort of jazz. So thank you again for watching, Joshua. Would you like to thank them if they come this far? They definitely need to be thanked if they've come this far.
Yeah, thank you for watching. I've enjoyed the comments. I've enjoyed knowing people watching it and take pleasure in some of this. And I've enjoyed watching it with you.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that as well. But for now, guys, you ready? See you out there. What's up, you whore?